Our girl's life has been one giant mistake. A mistake that started the moment she chose to defy her father. It began with a great fire that took everything from her. Her mother sacrificed herself, burning to ashes to save her daughter's life. But in saving his daughter, she lost her father's heart forever. He never shed a tear for his wife, but she heard his real thoughts loud and clear. "I'd rather the one who died and there was you." From that day on, her father became a stranger, a cold man who despised her. He even forbade her from using magic. But magic was the only thing connecting her to her dead mother. Years later, she defies him again, trying to speak to her mother's spirit. Her father's rage is terrifying. "I've warned you not to use magic." He snatches the precious necklace her mother left her. "Give it back." She cries, "It's the only thing that connects me to her." But he doesn't listen. In the struggle, she slips and tumbles down the stairs. His final words to her are like ice. "I don't have a daughter as disobedient as you." So she leaves, turning her back on her family for good. But tragedy strikes again. She returns to find her father dying, struck down by black magic. A dark spell is consuming everyone in the cathedral. Her father is impaled, bleeding out before her very eyes. Our girl, now a powerful mage, rushes to his side, desperately trying to heal him. But it's no use, her healing magic is completely ineffective. Panic crashes down on her. This can't be happening. With his dying breaths, he finally apologizes. "I'm sorry, but now you're the only one who can protect everyone." He presses her mother's necklace back into her hand. She clutches the familiar jewel, tears streaming down her face. "Why?" she sobs. "You clearly hate me so much." "Go, stop that guy," he whispers, "like your mother did," and then he's gone. A man steps out of the shadows, the new Emperor Karl Stewart, and he's the one behind it all. She glares at the two-faced bastard she once called a friend. He promised to protect her family, but instead he used them for a sacrificial ritual. And she's the one who helped put him on the throne. "Why would you do this?" she screams. He just smirks, completely unbothered by the carnage around him. He reveals his insane plan. Everyone in the Empire will be a sacrifice. He mocks her, calling her a clown and daring her to stop him. That's it, our girl snaps. She unleashes a torrent of holy magic. But the dark array just absorbs it. How can this be? The cursed array starts draining her own mana, pulling her to her knees. Karl just looms over her, his disappointment palpable. "A grand mage like you," he sneers, rendered useless. He erupts into psychotic laughter. But our girl isn't done yet. She grabs his ankle, a dark smile on her face. Then, "Let's go to hell together." Darkness explodes from her, consuming everything in a final, desperate act. But it was a complete failure. As her consciousness fades, she's filled with nothing but regret. She ignored her father's warnings and chased after those who were already gone. Guilt and remorse are her only companions. As she sinks into oblivion, she prays with all her heart. "Please, God, let me start from the very beginning." And just like that, she opens her eyes. She gasps, finding herself in a familiar, luxurious bed. This is her room, her childhood room, exactly as she remembers it. She leaps out of bed and races to the mirror. Could her prayers have been answered? The bandage on her wrist, it's from the day she fell down the stairs. The doors burst open. Maids rush in, shocked to see her awake. They hurry off to notify her father. The family butler approaches, his expression concerned. "My lady," he says gently, "you've really disappointed us all this time." This time, she knows exactly when she is. She feigns amnesia, hoping to buy herself a moment. He explains she's been in a coma for 2 days after fighting with her father and falling down the stairs. It's that day, the day he disowned her. She tries to heal her own wrist, and the butler's eyes go wide with shock. "Quick, stop," he yells, but it's too late. The door swings open, and there he is. Her father alive. He looks just as cold and imposing as she remembers. His eyes immediately lock onto the magic she's using. "Abby, you've disappointed me so much." But this time, instead of fighting back, she never thought she'd see him again. Not like this anyway, whole and healthy, not bleeding out on a cold floor. Before he can react, she runs and throws her arms around him. The whole room freezes as she sobs into his chest. "Dad, I really missed you," she cries. Her poor father is utterly bewildered. What is she talking about? And then he pushes her away. The rejection stings, but she understands. He turns to leave, coldly ordering the butler to call a doctor. She watches him go, her heart sinking. Maybe she can't change anything. But then he stops at the door. "Whatever it is, it's good that you've woken up." And with that small sliver of kindness, he's gone. A tiny spark of hope ignites in her chest. "He still loves me." Okay, new life, new plan, first order of business, fix her relationship with Dad. She tries to be a cute daughter and keep him company. He slams the door in her face. But wait, did she just see a goodwill meter pop up over his head? The maids are already gossiping that she hit her head too hard. And plan is a total failure. Our girl flops onto her bed, rethinking her strategy. She is absolutely determined to get close to her father this time. She looks at the old family portrait, a painful reminder of what she lost. But now, with a second chance, she finally understands. He didn't ban magic to hurt her, he did it to protect her. Their family name carries a heavy burden, a history of immense power that brought just as much bloodshed and calamity. Her father watched his entire family get wiped out because of that power. He sent her away to keep her safe, but in her past life, she was too selfish to see it. In his study, her father stares at an acceptance letter. It's from the Magic Tree Tower. He doesn't want her anywhere near the royal city or its politics. It's too dangerous. Just then, a soft knock. Dad, it's me. He's secretly flustered. Why is she being so clingy all of a sudden? I have something very important to tell you, she says. Dressed in an innocent green gown, she looks so earnest. He lets her in, his expression still icy. She starts with a simple apology, but he cuts her off. If that's all, you may go. Ouch, she presses on, bringing up the letter from the tower. He shuts her down immediately. We have already talked about this, forget it. She can see the worry in his eyes. So she gives him the one answer he never expected. Don't worry, Dad, I won't go to the tree tower. His eyes widen in shock. I was the one who wasn't being sensible, she says, her voice steady. I want to fulfill my duty as a member of the family. He is completely stunned. What is she thinking? He literally thinks her brain was boiled from the heat. This has to be a trick. Is she just trying to manipulate him so she can run away? But the butler reminds him of her incredible power. Her talent is a beacon that can't be hidden. But with great talent comes great danger. The royal family would use her, turn her into a tool, and discard her. Just like they did with her mother, he can't let that happen to Abby. Our girl walks through the halls, her resolve hardened. This is just the beginning. She knows this path is dangerous, maybe even more so than her last life. But it's the only way to uncover the truth she missed before. This time, I will be by your side. In her past life, she left home after a fight with her father. She found refuge in the isolated magic tower, a place of miracles. She doesn't regret her time there. It was where she met her professor. Our girl was so naive back then, just a child yearning for her mother. But soon she had no home to return to. The third prince, seeking power, tried to get her and the mage's tower on his side. This enraged her father, and the emperor stripped him of his title and land. She needed the prince's help to save her family. But by the time she returned to the empire, she was too late. Her eldest brother had already passed, and her second brother was assassinated just days later. Carl was the one who told her, blaming the enemy for his death. Looking back, she realizes how rash she'd been. There was another, more sinister possibility. What if Carl planned the whole thing and framed the prince? That man was more than capable of such evil. Her maid tells her that her brother, the hero of the expedition, is a total workaholic. He hasn't rested a bit since returning, and all the money he earns goes to buying our girl beautiful dresses. A wave of guilt washes over her. She never got to thank him properly in her past life, because she saw his death with her own two eyes. What kind of joke is this? She screams internally. Our girl won't let history repeat itself. She uses magic to sneak into the palace. Her target, Carl, he's the one who will drag everyone into an abyss of evil. She has to find out if he's plotting something. She peeks inside and sees a pretty boy studying diligently. He looks so studious and pure. This is the villain, Carl. Our girl is absolutely floored. A maid enters, telling His Highness it's time to leave. He agrees and prepares to go. He's leaving. She watches him walk away. He seems so normal, not like a madman at all, but then a voice cuts through the silence. Miss, she freezes in pure shock. Who could possibly be talking to her? And who is this ridiculously handsome man with glowing red eyes? Okay, let's just take a moment to appreciate the view. She tries to calm herself. I'm using invisibility magic, he can't be talking to me. I'm talking to you, he says, shattering her denial. Busted, invisibility is advanced magic, even most mages can't see through it. But this guy saw her clear as day. He just stands there looking way too good in that robe. His crimson eyes are locked on her. She panics, thinking of a way to knock him out. But he smirks. I'd advise you not to try anything. Magic is ineffective. He demands to know who she is and why she's here. He slowly walks down the stairs, his presence suffocating. It's not hard to guess, he says with a chilling smile. Lange Carlatti, or is it? Carla. He knows her real name. How is this possible? He hasn't moved an inch and he's unarmed. Not wasting another second, she makes a break for it. She levitates high above the city. The man just watches, impressed. Her magic exceeds that of a normal mage. He remains completely unfazed. The guards rush to his side, Your Imperial Highness Wilhelm. He calmly orders them to search the grounds. Of course, they find nothing. Just then the real Carl appears, asking what's going on. Wilhelm smoothly lies, nothing much, just a cat. He asks Carl if he's finished his reading, then he does something unexpected, ruffling the boy's hair. Rest if you're tired. Carl looks completely stunned by the affection. Yes, brother, he murmurs as Wilhelm walks away. And by walks away, I mean he casually yeets himself out the window. A girl lands in a dark alley, her heart about to explode. That was way too close, and who was that guy? She has no memory of him from her past life. Her brain is completely fried. The information broker she met was supposed to be a weak man. That guy was an absolute beast. She thinks back to the encounter. When he grabbed her wrist, it felt like she was being electrocuted. She sighs. Investigating Carl is clearly too dangerous right now. She decides to head home, but her current body is weak, lacking magic density. Her spell fizzles out, her hand empty. Wait, where's her mother's necklace? Meanwhile, the guards report no sign of any intruders. Wilhelm dismisses them curtly. He walks through the garden, musing that she was no normal mage. Suddenly, he spots a glint of light in the bushes. It's the heart-shaped necklace she dropped. He kneels down to inspect it. He picks up the precious memento. Our girl finds herself in a grand, empty hall. She wonders if this is all just a dream. A man sits on a couch, his chilling gaze fixed on her. It's Carl, and he's got that same terrifying smirk. He asks her, "Are you afraid of me?" He closes the distance between them, his voice a low whisper. "Afraid I might just tear everything apart." His maniacal laughter echoes through the nightmare. Our girl jolts awake, her heart pounding in her chest. Seeing Carl again has thrown her completely off balance. She remembers how he used to pretend to despise power. It was all a convincing act, a perfect disguise. But she couldn't figure out who he was mimicking. Then it hits her, the man at the banquet. She remembers the chaos of that night. An assassin had tried to attack the prince, and Carl's reaction was pure, unhinged brutality. The gentle prince she knew was a complete fraud. She immediately started to distance herself from him. After he became emperor, she fled back to the magic tower. She completely cut all ties with the man. She thought his mask of kindness was enough to let him rule. But then she got a letter. Carl was obsessed with dark magic. It was a desperate plea for help, so she used a powerful magic transfer spell. Success, the magic is now sealed in the locket. She's just relieved she didn't accidentally create some abomination. Now she has to return this replica and get the real one from the palace. The problem is she's running out of time, and she has no idea who even possesses the necklace now. She tried asking her father about Prince Wilhelm, but he just shut down. He's been giving her the silent treatment ever since. She knows the fastest way into the palace is marriage. There are only 3 suitable families for her to marry into, but 2 of them are political non-starters. That just leaves the royal family. Her brother reminds her that there are 3 princes: Wilhelm, Carl, and Ansetto. The problem is Prince Ansetto is still just a kid. Our girl sighs, yeah, marrying a baby is not an option. And Prince Carl is a complete recluse, no one sees him. A maid brings in a stunning new dress for her to try on. It's a gift from her second brother, how sweet. She looks absolutely gorgeous, but her mind is elsewhere. The maid bluntly asks if she's really going to marry the first prince. Our girl is totally caught off guard. The maid starts spilling all the terrifying rumors about him. They say he has claws hidden in his gloves, that his sword literally shines red with blood. Just being near him is supposed to be physically painful. Our girl thinks this all sounds like a massive exaggeration. The maid begs her to stay away. Our girl thinks, great, I'm already dead. But the maid insists the rumors are true. Crap, she thinks. She realizes her father totally called her bluff. Suddenly, footsteps approach her room. The maid opens the door to find the Duke standing there. Our girl is shocked. Father, what is he doing here so early? He hands her something. It's an invitation to the palace banquet. He holds up the elegant royal invitation. He says the prince she wants to meet will be there. She is completely and utterly speechless. The Duke's attendant is confused. He asks why the Duke changed his mind. The Duke says it's time for his daughter to grow up. But it's personal. He's going to show her what a monster the prince really is. This is all about protecting what's his. A poor girl is sobbing her heart out after her mother's death. A sudden knock echoes through the empty room. She nervously looks up, wondering who it could be. The door creaks open, and it's her brother Patrick with his signature gentle smile. He asks if he can come in, and she quietly agrees. He sits beside her, promising to fill the empty closet for her. He wants to pack it with soft things so she'll never feel hurt again. Back in the present, our girl isn't a child anymore. And instead of a closet, the butler is trying to fill her schedule to the brim. She thinks about using magic to speed things up, but the butler is watching her like a hawk. She asks if she really has to learn all this before the banquet. He confirms that the Duke is serious. She's basically grounded until she passes. The pressure is on. She asks how long she has. 25 days, our girl realizes she's in for a world of pain. But she's determined she must attend this banquet. And so begins the training from hell. First up is etiquette class. She has to learn how to curtsy like a proper lady. She moves with perfect grace and poise. The teacher is blown away. Excellent. Next up, painting class. She whips up a photorealistic apple, leaving her art teacher speechless. He's so impressed he asks if she wants to study art seriously. Then comes history class, where she aces every question. The staff can't believe it. The young miss is a genius. She smirks. Of course she is. This is her second life. Everything is going perfectly. Until dance practice, she immediately trips over her own feet. Her teacher tells her she's too nervous. But no matter how hard she tries, her feet just won't cooperate. It's a total disaster. The teacher can only sigh in defeat. She collapses to the floor, a complete and utter failure. Just then, a voice asks why she stopped. She looks up and it's Patrick, he's back. She can't believe her eyes. Brother Patrick. He pulls her into a warm hug before asking for a dance. He wants to invite the most beautiful girl in the world. He holds out his hand like a Prince Charming, but our girl panics, remembering her 2 left feet. He tells her not to worry and to just follow his lead. As they start to dance, it feels like a dream. His hands are so warm and steady. She floats across the floor with her brother. It looks so graceful from a distance. But then Patrick winces, Abby, you're stepping on my feet. Yeah, the reality is a lot less graceful and a lot more painful for him. But he's the best brother ever and just encourages her to keep practicing. Our girl is moved to tears by his kindness. She's fired up now, she will not embarrass her family. She declares she won't leave the studio, but Patrick stops her. He tells her to take a break, patting her head gently. He has somewhere to take her. She's worried about being grounded, but he's already handled their father. It's time to get her some battle armor for the social war, jewels, and dresses. They're heading to the most famous jewelry store in the capital, Diamond Star. Our girl is impressed. This place is seriously fancy. She remembers her teacher's words, dresses and jewels are a lady's weapon. She realizes this shopping trip is basically war preparation. Patrick can tell something is on her mind. He correctly guesses she thinks he brought her here to defeat the other ladies. He just laughs and ruffles her hair. What a good brother. But his next move is pure chaos, telling the staff to send everything asterisk. She begs him to stop. They already have a mountain of clothes. He promises to try, but his smirk says otherwise. They arrive at the jeweler. The entire store is glittering with an insane amount of jewels. Patrick explains the owner is an old family acquaintance. Suddenly, he's called away on urgent business. He tells her to look around while he's gone. A clerk shows her the finest bracelets and rings. They're beautiful, but our girl really needs a necklace. And then she sees it. A breathtaking ruby necklace called Madame Scarlet. The clerk gushes that it would suit her perfectly. Our girl is completely mesmerized. Just as she's about to ask for it, a loud voice interrupts, I want that necklace. A fiery redhead storms into the store with her entourage. She declares that such a dazzling piece is more suited to her. Our girl is just stunned by the sheer audacity. And then it hits her as she knows that woman, it's Carl's, a future empress, the main villainess of the story. Meanwhile, Patrick is outside dealing with a problem. His guards have caught a suspicious man. They report he was trying to attack civilians with strange weapons. Patrick asks to see the weapon in question. He takes the dark, sinister-looking dagger. His eyes narrow as he inspects it. There's no magic, it's just an ordinary dagger. He orders the man taken away. As his guards leave, a new figure emerges from the trees. A mysterious silver-haired man appears with a sly grin. He asks for a word with the Duke. Patrick turns, a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Meet Peggy Lynch, Carl's partner and the story's resident mean girl. Her father is Carl's right-hand man, pulling all the strings. She's basically a puppet in a world of power and desire. A pretty doll on a shelf. She values her position as future queen above all else. Our girl remembers that in her past life they barely spoke. But every time they crossed paths, Peggy would scoff at her. From Peggy's point of view, our heroine was just another one of Carl's consorts, a threat to her throne. In a flashback, Peggy demands a necklace be sent to her house. She points it out, not even looking at the poor shopkeeper. She scolds the employee for just standing there, pulling rank like a total Karen. But the employee stammers because someone else is looking at it. It's our girl. Peggy immediately gets hostile, squaring up to her. I've never seen you before, she sneers, assuming our girl wants the necklace too. She thinks our girl is a nobody, just another social climber desperate for jewelry. Our poor heroine just stares, taking the verbal abuse. Peggy calls her pathetic for wanting to raise her social status with trinkets. Our girl, playing the part of a scared little mouse, backs away. Peggy scoffs, pleased with herself. You know your place, she says, telling her friends to ignore the embarrassing scene. And with a flick of her hair, the villainous squad leaves. But our girl just smiles sweetly. She was totally faking it. Peggy fell for her acting hook, line, and sinker. She remembers Carl once described Peggy as a beautiful but tacky vase. A perfect if savage description. An empty vase for a man full of stagnant water. She also notices Peggy's friend, Lorraine. Later, our girl is outside getting some air. Suddenly, her brother calls out to her. He asks why she's outside all alone. He heard she was getting a necklace. She sighs, saying she couldn't find one that was fated to be hers. He looks concerned. A servant delivers a box for the Lange family. This jogs her memory. She explains what happened, how someone else had their eye on the same necklace. She plays it down, but her brother looks tense. He instantly realizes it was the Lange family. He fumes, knowing how arrogant they are. He's worried they'll give Abby a hard time at the banquet. He clenches his fist, ready to throw down for his sister. He broods, thinking of what to do. Just then, a man appears with a gift. It's from that person. He presents a beautiful box to Abby. She looks confused. He tells her to open it. Inside is the most breathtaking ruby necklace she's ever seen. It's absolutely dazzling. It's a jewel of the highest quality. Later that night, our girl is on a mission. The palace is empty. She sneaks through the halls trying to be stealthy. It's eerily quiet. Suddenly, a noise makes her jump out of her skin, but it's just a suit of armor. She scolds herself for being so jumpy. Time has passed, but she's not one to sit still. She's decided to illegally enter the palace again to find that necklace. To do so, she's been practicing an invisibility spell. But it's not going so well. Her weak magic means only parts of her disappear, and she accidentally terrified a maid. This led to widespread rumors of a haunted mansion. But something feels off tonight. This whole situation feels like a trap. She expected the Duke to hunt her down, but he's supposedly off fighting monsters. She has no idea what he's thinking. She frantically searches for the necklace, but instead finds something else, a letter. Meanwhile, deep in a forest, a battle rages. Carl is wounded but stands victorious over a slain monster. His knights complain that one of their own is slacking off. Carl looks over, completely unamused. It's Abner playing dead on the ground. His friend smacks him awake. Abner claims he's just too weak to move. They bicker like an old married couple, with Abner proudly declaring his lazy lifestyle. Suddenly, a massive beast roars, interrupting their chaotic argument. The knights draw their swords, telling each other not to panic. One of them complains that the Emperor sent them out here right after they got back. Another aide smirks, saying the Emperor hoped Carl would die on the battlefield. Carl gives him a chilling look, telling him to watch his mouth. From the bushes, more monsters leap out. A whole pack of them. With a flash of his glowing red eyes, Carl becomes a whirlwind of death, slicing through them all in an instant. His aide just smirks. This is His Highness's style. Why be cautious when you can just kill everything in one blow? With the battle over, the knights are ready to head home for dessert. As they walk, Carl gets a report. A rival family blew up a mine, but they miscalculated and uncovered a massive magic crystal vein. It's an incredibly rare ore used for magical items. To mine it legally, they'll need imperial permission. And to get that, they'll have to go through Carl. Everything is going according to his grand plan. He smirks, thinking about the upcoming banquet. The Emperor loves his extravagant parties, using them as chains to control his nobles. But Carl has other plans, thinking of the girl and the ruby necklace. He stops his aide Abner. You don't have anything else to do, right? Abner lies straight to his face, saying absolutely nothing. Back in the palace, our girl holds the letter. It's from him. It tells the mysterious lady magician to stop looking for the necklace. It says he's back in the city and they'll meet at the banquet. It's addressed to Miss Kala. Her eyes widen in pure shock. He knows he found out her identity. The day of the grand banquet has finally arrived. A carriage approaches the majestic palace. Mechanical birds deliver invitations through the sky. Our girl steps out looking absolutely stunning in red. A gentleman offers her his hand. They've arrived at the palace, and it's even grander than she remembered. She has a vision dripping in jewels. The place is just as beautiful as it was in her past life. Inside the hall is a chaotic swirl of flowers, food, and high society. Aristocrats are dancing and mingling everywhere. Court musicians set the elegant mood. A magical lovebird machine is even predicting a new romance for a couple. All the ladies are lining up, desperate to try it next. They're all giggling and excited for their turns, but our heroine stands apart from the crowd, looking pensive. She reflects on how different this new life path is. Everything has completely changed from her past. As pretty as it is, she still misses her quiet magic tower. But her number one priority tonight is finding asterisk that person asterisk. He's supposed to be here, but he's nowhere in sight. Then she spots Carl. Oh no, not him. She immediately goes into stealth mode. Do not see me, do not see me. She whips out her fan, trying to become invisible. Just then, the Emperor and Empress make their grand entrance. An aide whispers that the first prince is absent. The Emperor is not pleased. He scoffs at his son's lack of manners and starts the ball anyway. The music begins and couples fill the dance floor. Our girl watches from the sidelines, feeling out of place. Is this really just a ball? Suddenly, a loud bang echoes through the hall. The massive doors swing open dramatically. Everyone turns, whispering in shock. Her eyes widen as she sees who has arrived. It's him, the first prince, Wilhelm, looking like a god of war. He casually apologizes for being late, and he's looking absolutely delicious despite being covered in blood. Yes, you heard that right, there's blood on his uniform. The noble ladies start screaming their heads off. He just smirks, no need to panic, it's just monster blood. Our girl watches him, completely unfazed by the chaos. The Emperor, however, is about to have an aneurysm. Guards. He explodes, furious that Wilhelm dared to show up armed and blood-soaked. But Wilhelm just kneels, completely unbothered. He reports he was merely following orders, wiping out monsters for the Empire. A total savage. The nobles murmur, he was just doing his job after all. Wilhelm tries to excuse himself, ready to leave this disaster of a party. He turns his back on the emperor. The ultimate power moves, but the emperor isn't done humiliating him. He stops him with a sickeningly sweet smile. You've worked so hard. At least have one dance before you go. Oh, this is pure evil. Wilhelm's heart thumps with rage. The emperor is enjoying every second of this. This father-son duo is the definition of toxic. A girl remembers this part. The emperor forced him to dance to shame him. And of course, no young lady is willing to dance with a man covered in monster guts. This cruel game has happened many times before. The ladies are all terrified of him. One greedy father tries to push his daughter forward, hoping to make her the next empress. But she's trembling, absolutely horrified by the prince's aura. She's frozen to the spot. The emperor just smirks, waiting for the show. Wilhelm slowly turns, his crimson eyes scanning the crowd. The entire hall holds its breath. Who will he choose? Everyone is staring, the pressure is immense. And then our girl realizes he's looking straight at her. He starts walking in her direction. Her mind is screaming, don't come over. But it's too late, he's standing right in front of her. Pretty lady, would you do me the honor of a dance? She tries to refuse, but he leans in. The necklace you're wearing, red, really suits you. His hand flashes and she sees a familiar red gem. Her necklace, how does he know about her necklace? The red diamond was a secret gift. She remembers her brother giving it to her. And now Wilhelm is holding a piece of it. This is straight up blackmail. She grits her teeth and agrees she's been threatened. He takes her hand and she wonders what game he's playing. He definitely used the red necklace to threaten her. Between this and the letter, he must know her true identity. This entire thing is a test. This absolute jerk. Fine, she'll dance, and she's definitely going to step on his feet. The music begins and they start to move. She aims for his boot, but he dodges with impossible grace. He dodges again. Ugh, this is exhausting. She's already so tired of his games. But she's shocked to realize he's an incredible dancer. And unlike last time, there's no magical shock. It must be his gloves. He guides her across the floor effortlessly. She feels like a kite in his hands. The emperor is not looking happy about this. The empress looks equally displeased. Suddenly, he spins her dramatically. He pulls her into a breathtaking dip. They look absolutely stunning together. The crowd gasps in awe. He smirks, you should focus more on your partner. She's so angry. But damn it, she has absolutely no resistance to that handsome face. He asks why she accepted. She lies, saying it's because he invited her. You should have rejected me like any other lady. Was it because I mentioned this red necklace? She quickly invents a story. Yes, my brother gave it to me. It is my honor to dance with you. A perfect excuse. He smirks, clearly not buying it. You're honored. But you aren't an ordinary noble, are you? He knows, he totally knows. This necklace isn't fake, he says, confirming her identity as a mage. He mentions her mother was a great mage. She plays dumb. I have no talent for magic, she says, a technically true statement. You are funnier and smarter than I thought, he compliments her. The music suddenly changes. This is the last song, he murmurs, pulling her closer. Everyone else has left the floor. It's the finale, a solo dance. Our poor girl is just glad it's almost over. The other ladies are fuming with jealousy. Some can't hide their bitter sarcasm. Suddenly, a strange buzzing sound fills the air. The fortune-telling machine is going haywire. The mechanical birds burst out of their box. They're glowing with a brilliant light as they fly through the hall. The birds swarm towards them and Wilhelm pulls her protectively behind him. Stay behind me. Is this an attack? Who are they targeting? His eyes are sharp, analyzing the situation. But our girl realizes the machine isn't broken. The birds suddenly explode into a shower of fireworks, and a cascade of red rose petals rains down on them. What in the world is happening? Rose petals magically appear in our girl's hands. She knows everyone is impressed by this flashy magic show, but she has to doubt the prince's true purpose. He just stands there looking all stoic and handsome. The nobles are completely swooning over this dramatic display. They're told this magic only blooms when you meet your destined partner. The crowd absolutely believes the two are destined to be together. But our girl is confused and the prince is dead silent. The entire hall goes quiet, the nobles chattering nervously. And wouldn't you know it, the emperor is absolutely fuming. He screams, demanding to know the meaning of this. He points an accusing finger, his face twisted in rage. The emperor's aura flares, but the prince's dark power roars right back. A poor heroine can only watch this royal drama unfold. The prince says it doesn't matter how he answers, his father has already decided. He lands a savage blow, saying his opinion doesn't matter either. The emperor calls the situation utterly ridiculous. The prince just stands there completely unbothered by the chaos. Suddenly, one of the little mechanical lovebirds flutters over. It chirps and lands right in his gloved hand. So it was all just a clever magical machine. The prince announces his task is done. He is so over this party. The bird then flies over to our girl, who thanks it for its hard work. But Wilhelm stops her, saying she can decipher a magic machine without knowing magic. She realizes he's hinting at her secret, the nerve of this guy. He walks away, leaving her totally bewildered. The whole night was like a crazy dream, and it didn't take long for the rumors to spread like wildfire. A newspaper is slammed on a table, the headline blaring. Abby's father is furious, his arms crossed in disapproval. He scolds her for wasting a great opportunity and letting the Kala family steal the limelight. He asks if she's still hung up on some silly rumors. She clenches her fists, calling it all nonsense. Her father cruelly reminds her that their family pays for her lavish lifestyle. He tells her to reflect on her actions since she was the one who chose Wilhelm. He calls her a useless daughter, double ouch. Abby's eyes fill with tears of pure rage and jealousy. She screams about that bitch Kala and smashes a vase in frustration. Her maid calmly tells her not to worry about them being smug, because the higher you rise, the more it hurts when you fall, chilling. Meanwhile, at the Kala family mine, things are looking up. The miners have just finished a huge haul, even finding rare gems. But suddenly, the entire mine begins to shake violently. A worker looks up, confused by the rumbling. He screams for everyone to be careful as the entrance starts to collapse. A huge explosion of rock and dust bursts from the mine. Horses gallop frantically towards the scene of the disaster. The entire mine has caved in and there are casualties everywhere. The survivors cry out in relief as their lord finally arrives. It's Kala's brother, the young duke, and he looks grim. It happened again. Elsewhere, the crown prince is visited by his aide, Pierce. The prince stands alone in his massive office. He tells Pierce to take a look at the documents on his desk. There are 3 items that need his attention. First is an intelligence report on the Kala family mine. The culprit blew up the mine and then committed suicide. The Lange family is covering their tracks. Pierce looks smug. He's the one who made sure there was no evidence. He smirks, proud of how he's making things difficult for their enemies. The second document is a newspaper. It's the sensational article calling the prince and our girl a match made in heaven. Pierce reminds the prince that his goal is to help people, not walk into an abyss. He warns that the emperor is getting worse and they are running out of time. But this was their plan all along, using the ruby necklace as bait. Because of it, Kala had no choice but to accept the invitation. And now those rumors will become their shield and their spear. This guy is a master schemer. He predicts the Kala family will take the initiative and come to them. Right on cue, there's a knock on the door. Our girl thinks about the meaning of hugs. Her father's embrace is secure and loving. Her first brother's hug is warm and caring. He's the picture of a perfect older brother. Then there's her second brother's embrace, which is basically a death grip. He immediately apologizes, all smiles and charm. He claims he was just so excited to see her. This is her brother Aaron Kala, who is a little eccentric. And by eccentric, she means he was a political genius at age 8. He was a prodigy with some very strong opinions. He presents her with a gift he traveled the world for. He gets all flustered asking if she likes it. Of course she does, it's beautiful. She holds the gorgeous carousel snow globe. He breathes a sigh of relief, happy that she's happy. But our girl knows her brother will always see her as a child. She takes his hand, saying she has a gift for him too. He looks completely stunned by this. "You have something for me?" he asks, shocked. Her true chaotic shadow begins to materialize. Suddenly we cut to Aaron, absolutely losing his mind. "My lil sister definitely cannot get married," he yells, but his brother is a wall of logic, saying she wants to and the guy is handsome. He tells Aaron to stop complaining and find a real solution. The brothers realize the prince is coming to meet their father. Aaron worries that Abby is just too innocent. She's never seen how terrible men can be. So he comes up with a chaotic plan, take her on a blind date. He's got a whole lineup of men to show her. From poor to rich, he's got every type of terrible suitor available. He's determined to prove his point. And so the disaster date begins at a luxury hotel. Aaron is looking way too pleased with himself. Even the butler is shocked by his outrageousness. The interview process starts. First up is a watchmaker named Wood. He promises that any woman who marries him will be happy, but Aaron whispers the tea. He's a gambling addict with huge debts. Our girl is completely lost. Aaron dismisses him with a savage next. The next candidate is an apprentice knight. He boasts about his honesty and strength, but his weakness? He's a 30-year-old man-child still living with his father. Our girl's face is pure stone as Aaron calls for the next one. The final guy is a tortured artist who looks like he's about to cry. Our poor heroine has had enough and calls Aaron out. She tells him to stop being so involved. She declares she needs to understand men for herself. She wants to start by having a proper conversation with Earl Cardy. Aaron tries to protest, but then drops a massive bombshell. The family's 2 ruby mines blew up. Our girl is horrified. Who did it? She demands. They suspect it's the dirty work of the Lange family. Those were their most important assets. Without them, their family is just an empty title. This could be the start of their downfall. The brothers know they have to meet with the rival family to intimidate them. And the person they would have to meet is the infamous cold Duke Wilhelm. Suddenly, it all makes sense to our girl. The political marriage is the only way to secure their family's future. A girl eyes the mysterious figure in the chair. That's definitely Carl's hairstyle, but what is she supposed to say? She quickly runs through his profile in her head. Carl Stewart, 15 years old, the second prince. But she knows what he becomes in the future. He becomes the ruthless emperor of the Surin Empire. And the biggest bombshell of all, he remembers his past life just like she does. So her gut feeling was right, Carl was reborn too. She wonders if some goddess took pity on them. But her own journey back was fueled by a magic circle. A massive surge of power brought her back to the present. But Carl, on the other hand, seems to be enjoying his second chance. Suddenly, her own magic crackles to life. She warns him that killing her now won't change the future he wants. But Carl just smirks, threatening her entire family instead. She blocks his magic with ease, and he immediately hones in on her necklace. He taunts her, asking if she's curious about his own magic pendant. He reveals his plan to use magic crystals to destroy her family's legacy. Our girl is completely unimpressed. Thanks for the info, but I still won't help you. In fact, she tells him someone else is way more suitable for the throne. He smirks, knowing she means his brother Wilhelm. He describes his brother as handsome, stoic, and kind to everyone. But his smug look hints at a much darker side to the perfect prince. Later, an attendant tells her the crown prince's appointment was delayed. And speak of the devil, his highness himself arrives. It's Crown Prince Wilhelm, the one man she wanted to avoid. He's immediately escorted up the stairs. He turns and offers a deep apology for being late. And our girl is met with those piercing crimson-red eyes. Yep, it's Crown Prince Wilhelm, all right. Looks like there's no avoiding this conversation. She remembers her father discussing a political marriage. He was so worried that Wilhelm wasn't serious about her. But she lied through her teeth, telling him she knew all his tricks. She put on a brave face, promising her father they would be happy. Her dad is still fuming, convinced that Wilhelm is plotting against her. He's actually eavesdropping on them right now. But he's not the only one. Our girl is listening in too, and she hears the word engagement. A brilliant, chaotic idea forms in her mind. If she becomes the crown prince's fiancé, she can investigate him freely. She can change the entire course of history by making sure Wilhelm becomes emperor. Plus, it's the perfect position to launch a few sneak attacks on Carl. She boldly walks into the room, interrupting them. She curtsies gracefully and makes her move. She'll agree to his request on one condition. The crown prince is stunned. You are saying? She clarifies with a savage smile, I'm willing to be engaged to you. She looks absolutely radiant and confident, while her poor father has a meltdown in the background. The Duke clutches his chest, pretty sure he's about to have a heart attack. After the chaos at the party, the Duke is left in contemplative silence. The narrator tells us Lady Abby and the Duke had a serious discussion. He sits in his office, looking completely overwhelmed by the political mess. Elsewhere, a pair of intense eyes are watching. It's Abby's brother, and he does not look pleased. In another room, our girl sits with her father in the most awkward silence imaginable. Abby finally breaks the tension, pointing out his tea is now ice cold. She begs him to just say whatever is on his mind. He lets out a heavy sigh, lamenting that his daughter is growing up so fast. The poor man is just worried about her. He knows how difficult things are for her, especially concerning Prince Wilhelm. Meanwhile, her brother gives an order to a maid. He tells her to just leave the clothes, not wanting to be bothered. But then he freezes as our girl appears, looking like an absolute sunbeam in her yellow dress. He's completely stunned by her radiance. Outside, a line of carriages has formed at the estate gates. Her brother explains that every minor noble is crawling out of the woodwork now. They're all trying to get in her good graces since the engagement rumors started. He warns her that the tabloids are printing non-stop gossip, and that some of these visitors are definitely not here to be friends. Later at the tea party, our poor heroine is already feeling the hostile vibes. She knows these ladies probably think the worst of her. And she's right, they're openly whispering about her while she's sitting right there. Two particularly nasty ladies are leading the charge, calling her surly and rude behind their fans. Our girl is trying so hard not to cause a scene. She knows the rumors started small, but they've turned into a full-blown character assassination. The papers are now claiming she was the one who shamelessly pursued the prince. And of course, one of the main gossipers is one of Peggy's old friends. Our girl is literally surrounded by snakes. But then an unexpected ally speaks up, shading the gossips for being classless. Abby is surprised but can't help but agree. Still, she's wary. Why is Peggy's friend suddenly defending her? The girl smiles, telling Abby not to be nervous. She claims she's only here to apologize on Peggy's behalf. She explains that Peggy's ambition is all part of her father's plan. Then she drops a bombshell. Compared to her, I much prefer you. Our girl is totally baffled, but before she can react, a new guest makes a grand entrance. All eyes turn to the ridiculously flamboyant Miss Lange. The other ladies immediately start gushing over her dress and its floral decorations. The gossips who were just trash-talking Abby are now fawning over this new girl. The mysterious lady who was just talking to Abby just smirks. Miss Lange smugly accepts the compliments, thinking to herself, that's right, praise me more. The ego on this one, the camera then focuses on a beautiful vase. And you just know this thing is about to be at the center of some drama. In the Surin Empire, girls and flowers are practically one and the same. It's all thanks to the goddess Flora. They even have a huge festival to celebrate her gift. The noble ladies can't wait for the Flora festival. The whole city gets decorated and everyone comes out to celebrate. Legend says that the empresses of old could lead the flowers to bloom, a power none of the current emperor's 3 wives seem to possess. One of the ladies gossiping puts her entire foot in her mouth. She said the wrong thing. Everyone freezes, looking at Lady Carlatti. She just smiles, reminding everyone that both the empress and Lorne are from that family. Then she drops a spicy rumor about a girl who makes flowers with her asterisk. The other ladies look shocked by the ominous tale. Lorne asks why they look so worried, it's just a rumor after all. Just then another lady, Peggy, swivels around with a smug grin. She suggests they test the rumor with a special vase. All you have to do is put a stem in it, a simple test. The ladies are hesitant to participate in this obvious trap. Lorne insists, saying it's a rare and fun opportunity. But the room goes dead silent. No one wants to be the first to fail this ridiculous test. Lady Carlatti pretends to be disappointed in herself. Oh, I guess I'm not fit to be empress, how tragic. Our poor heroine Abby tries to calm her down. The other ladies try their luck with the vase. And nothing happens, absolutely nothing. Peggy then volunteers, acting like she's never tried it before. She confidently steps forward to give it a go. She places the stem in the vase and, wow, a perfect rose blooms instantly. The girls are absolutely losing their minds. Peggy plays it off like she's so surprised. Oh my, what a shock. But this was all part of her plan to show off. Lorne turns to our girl Abby, why don't you give it a try? Abby is put right on the spot. With everyone watching, she has no choice but to try. She places the stem into the vase, and an explosion of beautiful red roses erupts. Lorne is shocked Abby has the power too. But Peggy shouts, look, and points. The flowers begin to wither and die. The ladies are horrified as the petals fall. Dark, ominous energy surrounds the group. They all stare at the dead flowers. Lorne immediately accuses Abby of being cursed. The other ladies pile on, saying this means the crown prince is being tricked. Peggy just smirks, her plan working perfectly. But Abby calmly apologizes for breaking the machine. And with a savage smile, she says she'll take responsibility and fix it. She knows this was a trap, but they have no idea who they're messing with. Our girl unleashes her true power. A massive surge of magic flows from her hands, and from the dead stems, gorgeous, ethereal blue roses bloom. Peggy and Lorne are absolutely speechless. This cannot be real. Abby just plays it cool, blaming a special function of the vase. She claims she must have touched the bottom, activating a hidden feature. Having completely flipped the script, she makes a graceful exit. She leaves them all standing there, mouths wide open. Peggy is seething with rage. Abby completely humiliated her. She watches the beautiful blue roses, and in a fit of chaotic fury, she smashes the entire table. The priceless vase shatters into a million pieces. A few days later, we see the emperor getting showered with gifts. His aide brings him a table full of overseas treasures. The aide points out a ruby that resembles the eyes of a Lady Emily. The emperor smirks. He's clearly been spending a lot of time with her lately. He asks what the crown prince has been up to. His aide reports that the prince is still trying to visit Duke Kala's bastard daughter. The emperor is furious. He can't believe his son is chasing after that girl. Does he take me for a fool? The aide remembers the prince once met a commoner. He slyly suggests that maybe his highness is actually interested in her. The smarmy aide knows exactly which buttons to push. The emperor just scoffs, completely dismissing the idea. Back at the mansion, our girl is getting flooded with mails. A maid brings in a huge stack of letters. Abby groans, not another tea party invitation. Ever since Peggy's party, she's been drowning in them. She fakes a cough, telling the maid to decline them all. But the maid holds up one very special letter. It has an imperial seal. She squeals, thinking it's a love letter from the crown prince. But Abby's eyes narrow. She recognizes the symbols. A moon, a red ruby, and a tall building. This is no love letter. It's a summons. That night, she heads to a dark tower. The crown prince is waiting for her on the balcony. He greets her, calling her Miss Mage, or rather Lady Abby Kala. Our girl arrives in her hooded cloak. She notes that his letter was much less poetic this time. She removes her hood, revealing her face. They stand on the balcony overlooking the kingdom. He reveals the real reason for the secrecy. I'm being tailed. His father's spies have been following him everywhere. If he disappeared suddenly, it would only make them more suspicious. But they can't see her thanks to her invisibility. He used her real name on the invitation to give him a plausible excuse. She's not happy about it. She thought her identity was a secret. He confirms he knows who she is and that it doesn't help their collaboration. He still has questions for her. She takes a deep breath, realizing he has the upper hand. He smirks. He's good at turning the tables, isn't he? Now that he knows her identity, he has an advantage over her. But she came anyway because she still needs to get that necklace back. He admits that meeting her is a risk for him too. What if she's strong enough to break the restriction on his memory? Everything he's worked for would be for nothing. He holds out the necklace. Do you want to give it a shot? The challenge is laid down, his red eyes are glowing. He slowly lowers the necklace into her hand. A jolt of lightning-like energy sparks between them. Just like before, a girl holds the necklace, her expression hardening with resolve. A girl clutches the necklace, ready to run a little experiment. Her friend reminds her that her magic doesn't work on him, but she's gotta see it for herself. Suddenly, a gust of wind rustles the trees. The guards below are completely oblivious. A magical gale whips across the balcony. Our girl summons a wind spirit, but as it reaches him, the magic just dissipates. She tries a stronger spell, an eagle of pure mana. She sends it flying straight for him, and once again, it shatters into nothing. The magic just vanishes around him. She's never seen anything like it. Our girl decides to investigate up close. She recalls reading about this in an ancient grimoire. There are only two ways to nullify magic. Either two powerful spells cancel each other out, or the person has a rare, fragile immunity. He doesn't seem to fit either description. Then she remembers the spark when their hands touched. She asks him a very bold question. Can we hold hands? He doesn't hesitate, just says here. He extends his hand, much to her surprise. He admits he's curious too. He wants to know if he'll feel the same spark. They join hands and the tension is electric. But nothing, absolutely no reaction. She's like, am I doing this wrong? She squeezes with all her might, but still nothing. Our poor girl is so confused, and he has the audacity to smirk and call her strong, savage. She racks her brain, trying to figure this out. She remembers holding his hand at the banquet. There was no weird feeling between them then. Maybe she was just imagining things. But he stares at her intensely. He tells her he definitely felt a spark, like a current of energy passing through his fingers. He asks if she felt it too, and then he asks how about this. He takes off his glove. Our girl has a sudden epiphany. It was the gloves. Magic isn't supposed to be blocked by clothes, but his body is special. He asks her to try again. She agrees, wondering why he always wears them. Their hands touch, skin to skin this time, and bam, she feels it. It's a tidal wave of pure chaotic magic. Our girl is completely overwhelmed. She finally understands his power. The magic is immense and unprecedented strength, but then the warmth turns sharp and agonizing. She rips her hand away in pain and collapses to the ground, trembling. His magic feels like thousands of steel needles. The raw, insane power coursed right through her. He immediately rushes to her side, worried. He looks at his own hand and apologizes. She insists she's fine, just caught off guard. She realizes the immense burden his magic is. He reveals she's the first mage to ever touch his bare hand. He says he's aware of her strength. And now she knows his dangerous situation. She decides it's time to go. She thanks him for her necklace and says goodbye. As she floats away, she feels a pang of pity. Has he always had to endure this alone? He watches her go, whispering, see you next time. Once she's gone, he can't see her anymore. He stands there for a moment in silence. Then the backlash hits him hard. He stumbles, covering his mouth. He collapses against the railing, coughing violently. He curses under his breath. Blood trickles from his lips. He senses someone approaching and growls, who is it? We flash back to his tragic childhood. A maid screams in agony after touching him. Her hand is blackened and burned. The young prince can only watch in horror. The other servants whisper that he's cursed. His very existence was a danger to others. He was forced into a painful isolation. His power didn't just hurt others, it hurt him too. A priest tried a holy ritual to save him, but the dazzling light was pure agony. He screams in pain. The curse rides around him, causing immense suffering. His father, the emperor, looks on. Even the great mage of the tower can't do anything. He says magic is useless against the prince's condition. The young boy lies in bed, burning with fever. His own father looks at him with cold, indifferent eyes. He thought it would have been better to die. But then he saw his mother. She sat by his bedside, caressing his face. She was the most precious thing in his life. She hugged him tightly, wishing for him to grow strong. Her gentle touch was everything. She was like a beacon of hope in his dark world. She told him to take care of himself. Her love gave him the will to live. It was because of her that he survived the fever. But back in the present, he's barely holding on. The chaotic magic is still tearing his body apart. His gloved hand is stained with his own blood. He can barely control the energies inside him. He forces himself to stand, trying to hide his pain. But he hears footsteps. It's his younger brother, Carl. Wilhelm looks over his shoulder, weakened. Carl asks if he's strong enough to talk. He helps his brother up. Carl promises not to tell anyone about his condition. Wilhelm is frustrated he was seen like this. His brother supports his weight, but then a small laugh escapes him. He ruffles Carl's hair, teasing him for growing up. Carl pouts, saying he'll be taller soon. Wilhelm just gives him a sad, knowing smile. Carl's heart aches for his brother. He looks at him with such sorrow. If only someone could save him from this cursed fate. Meanwhile, back in her rooms, our girl is celebrating getting her real necklace back. She happily swaps it out with the fake one. She tucks the precious artifact away safely. This way, her mission is finally over. But just as she relaxes, her doors burst open, and a menacing figure stands in the doorway. Our girl freezes, hearing a voice from the doorway. She slowly turns her head and her heart drops. Dad. Her father stands there, radiating pure disappointment. He doesn't say a word, just come to my room. He turns his back, leaving no room for argument. She follows him down the long, silent hallway, her every step echoing with doom. She immediately regrets everything. This was a massive mistake. She let her guard down just because she was happy to be home. The tension in his office is so thick you could cut it with a knife. He calmly pours her a cup of tea, which is somehow even more terrifying. This reminds her of when she was a little girl, a time he rarely indulged her. He sarcastically notes it's only midnight, well past her 9 p.m. curfew. He then praises her for sneaking out with such aristocratic manners. The savage comeback is chilling. She nervously asks if he's angry. She even tries a little hopeful smile, but it's no use. Angry, he asks calmly. And then the meltdown begins. My daughter does not listen to me. He's in full-blown dramatic dad modes, lamenting how they've become estranged. He can't believe she snuck out in the middle of the night. Then his expression flips to a calm smile, but our girl isn't fooled for a second. He gets serious, demanding to know where she went. She stays completely silent, knowing that anything she says will only dig her grave deeper. The silence is deafening. Then he drops the bomb. I've been watching you since the moment you left your room. He went into her room and saw everything. The open windows, the shoes everywhere, and the traces of magic left behind. He knows she stole the necklace to practice her magic. What on earth did you do? He demands. Cornered, she finally cracks and admits she went out. His mind immediately jumps to the worst possible conclusion. Is it the crown prince? He's absolutely losing it, screaming about that boy. Our poor heroine is sweating bullets. Dad is fuming, convinced the prince he rejected is now preying on his daughter. She desperately asks why he thinks it's him. He lists the evidence. She was out late in a simple dress and had a flushed face from strenuous exercise. Oh my God, Dad, get your mind out of the gutter. He's completely convinced she's fallen for the tricks of a playboy. He imagines her being lured into a trap. I won't let you fall for a bad man, he declares. With that, he grounds her. You are not allowed out at night anymore. She cheekily asks about the daytime. Big mistake, you'll be with your brother even during the day. And so begins her new life with a permanent, very grumpy bodyguard. Her brother looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. While our girl tries to focus on her art class, she asks if he doesn't have better things to do. He smirks, saying Dad's orders are to watch her 24/7. He shows her his masterpiece, a weird little bug drawing. Then he tells her to follow him after class. She says she never agreed, but he's not taking no for an answer. He glances at her painting and is so shocked he immediately changes the subject. Let's just talk about us going out, he stammers. They arrive at a strange-looking building. Inside, her brother is yelling at a man to apologize. Our girl recognizes him from the banquet. She asks what this place is and learns it's a prop shop. And surprise, her brother is the owner. She puts two and two together and asks if the lovebirds from the party came from here. Her brother stammers, totally busted. It turns out his employee rented the chaotic birds to the crown prince to woo his sister, causing a massive scandal. But this is about my sister, her brother roars, absolutely furious. The employee explains the prince came with a portrait and a mountain of cash. What was he supposed to do? Her brother slams the table in rage, but our girl is surprisingly calm. She has other questions, pointing to the mechanical bird. Her brother explains it was made by a highly skilled and very mysterious mage partner. She asks about another one of the mage's inventions, and her mind starts connecting the dots. This mysterious magician, could it be someone she knows? She compliments his store but knows there's a bigger reason he brought her here. He grins and snaps his fingers. His employee unrolls a massive blueprint, the plan. It's for a new jewelry store called TMO. His idea is to use lower quality gems to make affordable, fashionable jewelry for everyone. He reveals he's also partnering with Earl Sterling and his sister. She understands immediately this is about their family's damaged minds. Their income is crippled and he's trying to find a new way to support them. She asks him what he needs from her. He puts on his cutest face and says the one word she expected, money. She knew it, but since he can't use family funds, he needs her to get an investment from Prince Wilhelm. She points out their dad would literally throw them in a cell for doing business with the imperial family. But she has an idea. They can use the broken rubies from the mine as accents on flower-themed jewelry. Just in time for the Flora Festival. Then she lays down her terms. If he wants her help and her money-making ideas, she wants shares and a voice in the company. Our girl is no fool. She's a businesswoman and she seals the deal with a look of pure, savage confidence. Our girl heads to the massive Pharaoh's library looking for a certain someone. She finds Prince Carl casually reading a book on torture instruments. Okay, a little creepy, but at least he has a hobby. He's completely engrossed, not even noticing her. Abigail is fuming. After all this time, he's just going to ignore her. She grabs a random book to have an excuse. Holding dreams of a tragic prince, she makes her move. He finally looks up. I thought you would never approach me, Miss Abigail. That smug little smirk says he knew she was there the whole time. She plays it cool, claiming it's the only seat left. He immediately calls her out on the shameless lie. She just shushes him and tells him to read. The silence between them is so loud. Carl is completely baffled. This woman is getting more reckless by the day. He finally snaps, telling her to spit it out. He admits he enjoyed her chaotic energy in their past life. He actually looks fond of the memory. She fires back, asking if he's enjoying his current life as a shadow prince. He leans back, looking utterly pleased with himself. I couldn't enjoy it more, he says with a grin. She asks if he has any dreams now. He says yes. His smile turns a bit mischievous. He dreamed of his wedding to Peggy. Except in his dream, Peggy looks absolutely murderous. He chuckles at the memory, but then his face darkens. Because he also dreamed of his brother's death. A chilling vision of the crown prince collapsing. He remembers a mysterious woman in black. Who was she? The memory is a blur of shadows. The vision shatters in his mind, and the psychic backlash hits him hard. He clutches his head, groaning in pain. Our girl immediately reaches out, casting a healing spell. She tells him that trying to remember the past is putting a huge strain on his body. She starts teasing him about his dreams and his relationship with Peggy. He gets defensive. Why do you care? Are you marrying him soon? He smirks, but there's no humor in his eyes. I haven't agreed to that yet, she says coolly. Then he drops a bombshell. The reason Peggy hates him is because his mother had her mother executed. Abigail is completely floored by the revelation, but she quickly regains her composure. He comments on it, then goes on a rant about the royal family, calling the old ladies vain and the emperor promiscuous. He warns her not to trust the emperor's love for the empress. Then he cuts himself off. What are you here for? She clears her throat, trying to look innocent. To borrow money, so much money. He's stunned. She immediately blackmails him, revealing she knows where he hides his treasure and his second hiding spot under the council room stairs. The prince is starting to sweat. And in your bedroom, she adds with a sly smile. Stop, he cries, absolutely mortified. He whispers, asking why a noble lady needs cash. To do business, she declares, pulling out a contract. She even offers her magic as part of the deal. He realizes it's less of a proposal and more of a threat. Sign it, she commands, the absolute girlboss energy. He takes the scroll, amused by her audacity. But as he reads it, his expression changes to shock. This business plan is actually brilliant. He's genuinely impressed with our girl's mind. Later, our girl is meeting with another suitor. It's Sterling Cardy, and he's asking her on a date. Peggy, his brother, is absolutely losing his mind. Abigail is just as confused. A date so suddenly. He confesses he fell in love at first sight. He lays on the charm, listing his assets and future title. He tells her he's a better choice than the crown prince. Will you allow me to pursue you? He asks, full of confidence. Our poor girl is completely flustered. How is she supposed to answer that? Peggy explodes, yelling at his brother for this stunt. Suddenly, a new voice cuts in. A woman steps out of a carriage. Don't forget what we're both here for, she says coolly. She introduces herself as Liz Cardy, Sterling's sister, and then she cheekily tells Abigail she supports the relationship. Peggy is not having it. The tense business meeting finally begins. Sterling plays the perfect gentleman. As they walk, Abigail thinks back to a warning Liz gave her. You'll experience misfortune if you keep associating with us. Was she talking about the original villainess, Lorraine, or me? Liz is tense but quickly plasters on a dazzling smile. The switch-up is so fast it gives everyone whiplash. Abigail is impressed. This girl has insane control over her expressions. But before business can start, Peggy interrupts. He apologizes for the blind date fiasco, then immediately warns Sterling to back off from Abby. He goes full protective brother mode. Sterling just laughs, calling himself a harmless admirer. He says he'd do the same for his own sister, Liz. A servant brings out the Empress's flower crown for the upcoming festival. It's a stunning ruby set made by their rival Diamond Star. Liz questions their plan to have their new brand Tiamer make the crown. Abigail confirms it would be a huge promotion, but Liz points out that tradition dictates the crown must have a ruby and must be made by Diamond Star. It's an impossible task. Liz calls the plan impractical. Sterling agrees, saying a new store can't handle the responsibility. Peggy knows this will be tough, but he has a trump card. The flower crown won't be for the Empress, he reveals. Liz's eyes widen in understanding. Abigail smirks. She remembers the maids gossiping. This year, the flower goddess won't be the Empress. It's an unprecedented opportunity for them. The crown they design will be for the NEW flower goddess. And she's looking right at her. Isn't that right, Miss Liz? Peggy is shocked that the emperor would change tradition. Seizing the moment, Sterling invites Abigail to the opera. He says the most beautiful performer in the empire will be there. It's the perfect place to be seen and promote their jewelry. Will you go? He asks as Lies watches her intently. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the crown prince stares into the night. He whispers a single name, Florinda. The grand throne room is filled with tension. The emperor himself has come to greet these new arrivals. He welcomes the esteemed guests from the Surin Empire. A delegate from the Surin Empire bows respectfully. He's honored the emperor came, though he expected the crown prince. The emperor gives a plastic smile. He then drops the bomb, the crown prince isn't coming. Meanwhile, far away, a lone figure rides through the woods. It's our boy, the crown prince Vane. He yanks on the reins, bringing his horse to a sudden stop. He looks grim. His aide asks why he's stopping. Vane knows they won't make it back in time. His aide blames himself for not capturing monsters faster. But Vane knows the truth, this was all his father's plan. No matter what, the palace would have stopped him. The guards would have barred the gates. The emperor sent him away to make some shady deals with the delegation. But it wasn't just business, it was also pure petty hatred. He flashes back to his childhood, looking up at his father. He asked if his father loved him or his mother. The emperor just turned his back on him. His only words were a cold, "Get out of my sight." That darkness has followed Vane ever since. Pulled from the memory, his aide calls to him. Vane simply says, "Let's go." But not to the estate, he has other plans. He's going to the opera. At the lavish Vermilion Parrot Opera House, the banquet is about to begin. Tonight's star is the beautiful Florinda. She's a vision in red, captivating the entire audience. Her voice tells a story of lies and false splendor. It's a tragedy about a beautiful lie. Watching from a private box is none other than Prince Vane. He knows the lead actress, Madame Emily, is the talk of high society. He glances at the program. The opera is about a poor maiden who becomes an imposter noble. But Vane knows the real story. This actress is his father's new mistress. He remembers meeting her a year ago. She was quiet and timid. But now she's basking in luxury, a completely different person. The character she plays wears a mask, hiding her true desires. A perfect metaphor for the actress herself. He wonders if his trash father actually intends to crown this woman. Would he really disrespect the empress and the entire empire like that? Vane's expression darkens. His eyes scan the crowd and he spots two familiar faces. It's Miss Abigail and Miss Lies enjoying the show. He hasn't seen Abigail since he returned her necklace. Her father, the Duke, has basically locked her up. It's not just to protect her from other suitors, but specifically from him. He smirks, the Duke's concerns are valid. After all, he fully intends to use her as a pawn in his schemes. His actions will undoubtedly bring her harm. He stares at her from his box. It wasn't his plan to see her tonight, but he's glad she seems to be in a good mood. She's absolutely radiant. What a mysterious and captivating woman she is. A small, genuine smile graces his lips. Beside him, his aide is completely passed out, snoring away. Vane sighs, he completely forgot the guy was even there. Guess his family's fighting prowess doesn't extend to artistic appreciation. Her lies are exposed and she's cast out from society. The harsh reality is too much to bear. She runs, trying to escape her fate. But there's nowhere to go. Her only escape is a never-ending slumber. The curtain falls. The hall erupts with thunderous applause. The crowd is on its feet, cheering for the spectacular performance. The noise startles Vane's aide awake. He looks around, totally busted. Vane just gives him a look. The aide tries to play it off, but Vane just chuckles. Suddenly, Vane spots the girls again. Oh, looks like they're leaving. Lies calls out Abigail's real name by mistake. Our girl is so flustered. Vane approaches them and Abigail awkwardly curtsies. He tells her there's no need for formalities. Our girl is a mess. She's been so busy she forgot he existed. He mentions he heard Duke Candler is keeping a close eye on her. She shoots back, I wonder whose fault that is. The sass is real. Suddenly, the Abigail protection squad materializes, trying to keep Vane away. But he's laser-focused. They are no match for a determined prince. As an apology, he offers to treat them to tea. Abigail immediately brightens. This is an offer for her, right? The tea is absolutely delicious. This is the life. They sit together in a private room. Vane asks what they thought of the opera. Our girl admits she was deeply shaken. The transformation scene felt like real magic. But she found the story unsettling. Lies then chimes in, what are you saying, Lies? Abigail panics. Lies calmly explains that while most ladies come to socialize, Abigail was truly immersed in the performance. Abigail is internally screaming, why were you watching me? This is so embarrassing. Vane just sips his tea amused. He changes the subject, asking about Madame Emily. Lies confirms they know she's to be the new flower goddess. Vane looks thoughtful. Lies asks if he's familiar with her. Our girl listens intently. Vane explains that Madame Emily is the top performer now. But just 2 years ago, she was a courtesan. Abigail is stunned. How did she rise so fast? There were early signs, Vane says darkly. 3 months ago, the emperor married her off to the 89-year-old Count Lorraine to give her an identity. Lies heard about it, but 89 years old. Our girl is literally speechless. The Emperor and Madame Emily grew closer after that. Vane calls his father a licentious man who drove his own mother to her death. He has no opinion on the Madame herself, but he predicts she'll meet the same tragic end as so many others. A guillotine flashes in his mind. He then suggests they meet her in person. Lai says they'd like to for the sake of their jewelry business. Tiamer Jewelry, Vane's eyes gleam. He sees an opening. He asks if they need another investor for their new store. His offer is smooth as silk. The girl's ears practically perk up. Is he serious? Of course, he says with a dangerously charming smile. He has a few conditions, of course, but for them this is a golden opportunity. They can't believe their luck. With the new flower crown design complete, she decides to visit Madame Emily herself. But to keep her true identity a secret, she needs a little subterfuge. So our girl decides to go undercover, disguised as Liza's humble maid. Time for a magical girl transformation. She calls upon the spirits of the mist to change her appearance. Her hair color shifts in a swirl of magic. Liz is absolutely stunned by the change. She can't believe how realistic the disguise is. "You look like a completely different person," she exclaims. They arrive at a mansion that screams new money. Boxes of the latest shoes are piled up. Madame Emily is clearly a shopaholic. A maid helps her try on a new pair. The room is filled with nauseatingly sweet desserts and gaudy over-the-top decorations. Precious jewels are scattered everywhere, mixed in with some surprisingly cheap knockoffs, tacky. Our girl and Liz take in the chaotic scene. Emily dismisses the last pair of shoes with a huff. The maid nervously explains it's the last pair from the new season. But the madam doesn't care. "That's a problem for you to resolve," she snaps. And she kicks the shoe away like a spoiled child. Just then, a servant announces their arrival. Our heroines step forward looking composed. Emily scoffs, annoyed that some noble daughter insisted on seeing her, but she allows them to sit. Suddenly, a gift arrives from His Majesty the Emperor himself. Emily opens the box, a sly smile on her face. "My, how generous," she purrs. She picks out a lavish-looking fan. With a sharp stare, she turns to Liz. "Well, Miss Liz Cardy, what do you think?" She fans herself, practically glowing with smugness. This isn't a question, it's a power play. Liz realizes Emily is just showing off the Emperor's favor. It's because she's been mocked by other noble ladies in the past. They invited her to parties just to humiliate her, demanding she dance for them. So now she harbors a deep hostility towards all noble women. Liz looks worried for a moment, but our girl steps in, her fashionista mode activated. "You'd look better in a deep scarlet dress," she says boldly. Emily is taken aback. Our girl continues, suggesting satin shoes, and even offers up her own earrings. A maid presents them on a tray. Emily, intrigued, decides to try on the whole ensemble. She looks at our girl, stunned. "Won't you give it a try?" our heroine suggests with a smile. The transformation is incredible. Emily looks absolutely radiant. The dress is simply magnificent. She finally has a style befitting high society. Emily is shocked. "I thought noble ladies disdain me," but our girl lays the flattery on thick. "I'd adorn a slave if they could compliment my designs." She then declares Emily is the only one suitable to represent the flower festival. Liz is in awe. Our girl is a true queen of flattery. Emily is completely won over and wants to see the jewelry. Our girl explains the store belongs to her brother, but she has brought the designs for the flower crown. She presents the first design. It's a beautiful crown with large red gems. Emily thinks it's nice but a bit dull. Something more suited for the current empress, and she makes one thing very clear. "I really hate being the same as someone else." Luckily, Liz came prepared with a backup plan. She presents another, more unique design. On the ride home, the mood is pensive. Liz asks our girl if she's thinking about Madame Emily. "She glanced at me before we left. Do you think she saw through my disguise?" Our girl's expression is grim. She muses that Emily is proud and alluring. She's an ambitious woman who wants to soar. And for their business, that's a good thing. The design was customized just for her. But what happens to a bird in a golden cage when its owner grows tired of it? The thought triggers a horrifying vision. Emily being dragged away, screaming for the Emperor. The chilling fall of the guillotine blade. Her last terrified scream. Our girl jolts awake in bed, heart pounding. It was another terrible dream. She sits up shaken, the vision of Emily's fate haunting her. A knock at the door startles her. Who could be visiting so early? It's her brother, Patrick, looking dashing in his uniform. She's flustered, still in her nightgown. He's there to say goodbye. He's been sent on a mission. She worries about him being overworked. She feels a pang of guilt for not noticing his burdens sooner. He suddenly lets out a small cough. She rushes to his side, concerned. He assures her he's fine, but her eyes are filled with worry. She tells him she wishes he didn't have to go. He gently reminds her they both have responsibilities. After spending so much time with family, she'd forgotten what it's like to be apart. He pats her head reassuringly. "Don't worry, Abby, I'll be back before you know it." He playfully teases her, saying she's an open book. As he leaves, he gives her one last instruction. Wear the dresses and jewelry I picked out for you, he says in full protective brother mode. He promises to accompany her to the flower festival next year. I'll be back soon, he vows. She promises to wait for him. This time, she will protect everyone. As Patrick walks through the palace grounds, he spots the third prince chasing a butterfly. The little boy looks happy and carefree, enjoying his childhood. Even the emperor is putting on a fatherly front for him. The prince suddenly turns his head, and Patrick freezes. He feels an immense, terrifying surge of raw mana coming from the child. He's in absolute shock. How can a boy so young possess such power? Just then, the empress appears. Patrick quickly bows. She holds a bouquet of roses, but her expression is pale and weary. He tries to comfort her about the flower festival drama. He tells her the emperor is just acting on a whim. The little prince peeks out from behind his mother's dress. The empress sighs, "You can't lose what you've never had." She then changes the subject, asking about his family's collapsed minds. He assures her the reconstruction is going smoothly, but she sees right through him. "You're worried about what lies behind those incidents, aren't you?" He shudders. The empress offers her family's full assistance. Her eyes flash with cold fury. "His Majesty may tolerate them, but I cannot." Patrick is stunned. Why is the empress, who never intervenes, getting involved? The bells toll and it's time for her to leave. As she walks away with her son, Patrick is left with a chilling thought. Is she doing this for her son's future, or is she planning something else entirely? The town is buzzing even for a simple rehearsal. A grand carriage rolls through the streets. The crowd gasps as they see who's inside. Wait, that's not the queen, it's a famous opera singer. And look at that gorgeous ruby crown she's wearing. The people have never seen a design like it. Meanwhile, our girl and her brother are watching from the sidelines. This was all part of her master plan, creating beautiful, affordable jewelry for everyone to enjoy. Even our little lion cub thinks it's a brilliant idea. The queen, however, is not impressed. She watches the parade from her window, her face a mask of stone. She sees the common folk celebrating a woman who isn't her, and she is absolutely seething. She turns away from the window and orders her carriage. Time to make an appearance. Back in the square, our girl sighs, wishing her other brother was here. Aaron immediately gets jealous. "Hey, your favorite brother is right here." Our girl just rolls her eyes at his antics. He suddenly looks all guilty and flustered. He admits he has to meet his business partner, the mysterious mechanical magician. This guy is super reclusive and hard to track down. If Aaron misses this chance, he might not see him for a year. He panics, thinking of all the money he's about to lose. Our girl just finds him weird. A magician who doesn't reveal where they're going. Aaron starts begging, literally praying to her. "Please keep this a secret from father. He knows he'll be in deep trouble if their dad finds out." The thought of getting punished is too much to bear. She finally gives in and waves him off. Her brother gets suspicious for a second, but before he can question her, he's gone in a flash. Man, that was fast. He's willing to risk their father's wrath for this meeting. She feels a bit bad for him. Now, time to do a little investigating of her own. A busy market is the best place to find secrets. The whole place is buzzing with energy for the festival. It's so lively and cheerful. Vendors are selling fresh flowers and delicious-looking snacks. The latest fashions are on display for all to see. Our girl looks around, taking it all in. She remembers the last magical market she visited. It was so secretive, with everyone in cloaks and speaking in code. The items for sale were bizarre and dangerous. She mostly bought things for self-protection. Suddenly, her eyes catch a glimmer. Something shiny is hidden behind some crates. It's an incredibly intricate mechanical box, but the price is an absolute nightmare, almost 1,000,000 gold pieces. Our girl is shook. No wonder this stall has no customers. Still, she can't help but feel curious. She asks the mysterious hooded vendor how it works. He gives a charming smile and tells her to press the button on the side. She presses it, and a beautiful flower blossoms made of countless tiny petals. It's absolutely breathtaking. The vendor calls it the breath of life. He says he spent 3 years meticulously crafting every single petal. He demonstrates its magic. When the goddess opens her eyes, the flowers bloom, and when she closes them, they close as well. Our girl is completely captivated by its beauty, but that price tag is still a problem. "If you like it, you may have it," the vendor says smoothly. He just wants to give it to her for free. Our girl is flabbergasted. There's no way she can accept such an expensive gift. She insists on paying what she can. It's not much, but it's all the gold she has on her. She holds out the small pouch. The vendor just laughs, amused by her stubbornness. He finally agrees to take her gold. "If we meet again," he says, "I can fulfill one thing you ask of me." He gives her a knowing look and then takes his leave. What a strange encounter. She didn't even see his face, but she did catch a glimpse of his hair. It was a rare and beautiful silver. It seemed to glow in the sun. Meanwhile, in another mansion, a different story unfolds. A young woman named Peggy is woken up by her maids. It's time to get dressed for a very important day. She sits silently as they fuss over her. Her face is completely completely blank. A maid brings a bowl of water with a single nick in it. The head maid notices immediately, and her expression turns sour. She orders the offending maid to be thrown out of the mansion. Everything must be perfect today. Peggy asks if His Highness has arrived yet. The maids confirm his carriage is outside. The head maid tells her to seize this opportunity. She needs to secure Lord Vane tonight. The maid holds up a dress. It's a beautiful gown, but Peggy has her eyes on another one. She points to a different dress, one that looks suspiciously similar to the one our girl was wearing. She doesn't even know if she likes Lord Vane. But her father's orders are absolute. She has no choice in the matter. At the banquet, Lord Vane looks bored out of his mind. He's being guilt-tripped into staying, lest people think he favors the Candler family. He reluctantly agrees. Peggy watches him from across the room. She knows she has to approach him, but there are too many people around. Her father's voice echoes in her head, pushing her to take the initiative. She waits for a moment when he's finally alone. She follows him out into the garden. She nervously approaches him, asking if he's taking a stroll. He turns and his crimson eyes pierce right through her. It's the gaze of a killer and she trembles in fear. Her hands grow clammy. She tries to compose herself, but he's already noticed her fear. "You're afraid of me," he states, "so why do you insist on meeting?" She's completely stunned. He asks if she fears his sword or him as a person. She tries to stammer out a confession, but he cuts her off with a savage rejection. "We are not compatible," he says coldly. He tells her to let go of things that are simply not meant to be. Her world shatters. Back at the mansion, her father is absolutely furious. Useless, he screams, enraged that she messed up such a golden opportunity. As punishment, he orders her to be dressed in burlap and thrown into the servants' quarters. Poor Peggy has let her father down again. The maids gossip while bringing her moldy bread. She's now less than a servant in their eyes. For 5 days, she's left in the cold, starving. She sobs, begging for her father to let her out. Then a knock on the door. It's the head maid. Holding a delicious-looking slice of cake, she slides it into the room. But as Peggy reaches for it, the maid stops her. "You cannot eat it, those are the Duke's orders." The maid then twists the knife. She talks about how Duke Candler is gaining favor, how his daughter and Lord Vane were seen together. She reminds Peggy that everything she has is from her father. Peggy feels trapped. She's terrified of Lord Vane, of his killer aura. She knows Abigail Candler is nothing like that. But the maid calls her weak and pathetic. She tells Peggy to stop trembling and start thinking like a true member of the Lane's family. "If you remain like this," the maid warns, "you will never leave the servants' quarters." The words leave Peggy completely stunned. The maid leaves her to think it over. Peggy feels her life is a lie. On one hand, luxury, but on the other, the cold floor of a servant's room. She's nothing but a puppet, forced to warm up to people she fears for her family's glory. All she feels now is cold and hunger, wishing she could just go back to her room. Rats skitter through a dark, forgotten tunnel. And at the top of the stairs, our poor Rena hesitates. Her aunt calls from the darkness. This lady's smile is giving major stranger danger vibes. She promises Rena the key to turning her life around. But down below is a sketchy-looking magic circle. This is not the self-help seminar she was expecting. Rena nervously points out that she can't even use magic. The aunt just gives a smug smile, telling her not to worry. "Yeah, right." Then she grabs a bucket filled with something ominous and splashes the foul-smelling liquid all over the magic circle. Our girl realizes with dawning horror that's blood, pure, unadulterated blood. The aunt is completely unhinged, telling her to stop being a baby if she wants revenge. She promises that everyone who has ever wronged Rena will finally pay for their sins. And just like that, the darkness starts to creep into Rena's heart. Yes, all those who went against her, all of them must pay. The villainous origin story is loading. She finally asks what she needs to do. The aunt tells her to just pour out all her anger and despair. She'll take care of the rest. This is totally not a demonic contract. And as more blood is poured, Rena lets her hatred flow freely. Her first target, the beautiful flower festival. Meanwhile, at that very festival, our girl Abby and her friend Liz are on top of the world. Literally, they're in a hot air balloons. Liz reveals her genius marketing plan. They're going to advertise their new flower shop from the sky. It's a festival tradition to throw petals. So they'll throw petals with their shop's logo printed on them. Savage. It cost a fortune, but that's the power of money, baby. They get ready to make it rains. It's time for the greatest flower drop in history. Just like the flower goddess, they begin to spread the petals. Each one is beautifully printed with a golden logo. The petals drift down over the city walls. The crowd below is absolutely captivated. Even the crown prince, Kale, and his patrol notice the beautiful sight. His aide grumbles about being on duty during the festival. Then one of the guards spots the unique golden logo. The people immediately recognize the famous flower shop. Kale catches one of the petals, his expression unreadable. He recognizes the intricate design of the everlasting flowers. He knows who did this. A small, thoughtful smile plays on his lips. He orders his men to continue the patrol, hoping for a peaceful day. "Oh, you sweet summer child." The scene is perfectly serene as the festival procession reaches the church. The carriage of this year's flower goddess arrives in style. She is helped from her grand carriage. She looks every bit the part of a goddess. As she enters the church, she begins to sing a beautiful hymn. The song echoes through the grand hall. The ceremony to bless the land begins. Even the emperor and empress are present, watching the children's choir. The song is all about the flower goddess sowing happiness. Abby and Lies watch from the crowd, a little concerned. They worry their flower designs are too similar to the empress's, and notice the goddess is staring her down. The flower goddess stands proud, a sun in human form, but the empress just smirks back, completely unbothered. The emperor announces the start of the ceremony. A priest begins the ritual, speaking of how all life comes from flowers. He preaches about the goddess's gifts to the world. He hands her the ceremonial lily bud, asking her to recite the ritual. She begins the chant. Abby can feel the potent magic swirling inside the flower. But nothing happens, the flower remains stubbornly closed. The priest is utterly baffled. The crowd begins to whisper, the flowers were supposed to bloom all at once. He asks her to try again, the goddess is starting to sweat. Her eyes widen in absolute terror. Because across the city, Rina chants a curse of her own, a spell of death and fire. The goddess can only scream in denial. Suddenly, chaos erupts. Unholy, dark flames burst from the goddess's body. This is Rina's hatred made manifest, a curse on everyone she despises. Her rage forms into chains of darkness, and at the heart of her curse is one name, Abigail Candler. The priest panics as the goddess is consumed by fire. Abby and Lies are horrified. Then someone screams, all the flowers in the chapel. They're all bursting into flames. The guards scramble to protect the royal family. Kale's aide can't believe his eyes. The entire church begins to fall apart. Massive chunks of the ceiling come crashing down. Panic and destruction fill the once holy place. Lies realizes their exit is completely blocked by debris. She turns to Abby, but our girl is gone. Abby is frozen solid, staring at the flames with a familiar horror. Because she's seen these exact flames before, a traumatic memory hits her like a tidal wave, her home burning to the ground. The fire was unstoppable. Her father tried to run back inside for her mother, Arsha. He was held back, screaming his wife's name. A tiny Abby could only cling to him, begging him not to go. She was too terrified to even speak. She knew it was no normal fire, it was an unquenchable flame of sin. Her mother stood peacefully in the inferno, knowing what she had to do. Her father ordered his men to take Abby away to safety. Little Abby was dragged away, screaming for her mother. Her mother's last words were a plea for Abby to protect everyone. She smiled through her tears, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. Because she knew only life itself could extinguish an eternal flame. Abby remembers asking her teacher about such a fire. The teacher confirmed that such terrible magic exists. She explained that to fight it, you have to pay an enormous price. The memory of her teacher's kind hand was little comfort then or now. Back in the present, the church is a nightmare of smoke and screams. Abby collapses against Lies, shaking. Lies holds her friend, asking if she's all right. Lies coughs, pointing out that Abby just stood there completely motionless. Abby apologizes, admitting she was lost in her memories. She confesses her deepest fear. She's terrified the past will repeat itself. And that fear freezes her in place. Lies yells that the fire has spread and is right on top of them. The survivors are trapped, their prayers useless against the magical flames. A little girl sobs for her mother and something inside Abby snaps. She clenches her fist, determination replacing fear. With a newfound resolve, she walks toward the wall of fire. Lies screams her name, begging her to come back. Abby remembers her teacher's lesson. If you can't stop the source, convert the energy. She steps into the inferno. She thinks to herself that she's always been the one who needed saving. But not this time, it won't happen again. Her eyes blaze with power. She begins reciting the hymn, but this time it's her magic that answers. A brilliant green light explodes from her body. The energy of the fire is being converted into the energy of life. The survivors can only stare as magical creatures of light form around her. A girl raises her hand, taking control of the chaos. She invokes the goddess of life, commanding the flames to become a sea of flowers. And in a brilliant flash, the fire is gone, replaced by beautiful pink roses. Miles away, a red jewel in a box pulses with light. Abby's brother senses it, a terrible feeling washing over him. Back in the tunnels, Rena violently coughs up blood. Her aunt is stunned, the ritual. It failed, the backlash is hitting Rena hard. Back in the now silent church, the survivors look around at the miracle. Lies finds Abby collapsed in the bed of roses, unconscious. She did it. Our poor heroine is completely drained. She whispers for her mother as she finally lets sleep take her. Our girl trembles, standing on the edge of a magical abyss. A voice calls out her name, Abby. She's wearing a stunning blue gown, surrounded by ethereal flowers. A glowing butterfly lands softly on her collarbone. It seems to be leading her somewhere, fluttering around a statue. She calls out to the strange creature. Where are you going? She asks, stepping forward. Her eyes are wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. The butterfly leads her to a bush of glowing blue roses. Suddenly, visions of her past lives flash before her eyes. A ghostly figure ascends towards the heavens. Is this her past? She remembers the fire that took her mother's life, and the terrible fire that ended the entire world. She recalls fighting with all her might, vowing to stop it, and then the fire that ultimately ended her own life. Her final prayer was for hope to bloom once more. They say your life flashes before your eyes before you die. And our poor heroine has finally reached her limit. It seems she's used up every last bit of her strength. Pain surges through her body, she can't hold on any longer. The magic of reincarnation was far more dangerous than she thought. She wonders, did she manage to save everyone this time? I'm sorry, Vane, she thinks, I can't be of much help anymore. With so many regrets, her consciousness begins to fade. Back in the real world, the mood is grim. A butler warns the Duke that the tea is hot, but the Duke sips it, completely numb to the world. He feels nothing at all. He asks about Abby's condition. The news isn't good, she hasn't shown any signs of recovery. To make matters worse, the elder prince has arrived. Vane looks determined, demanding to see Abby. But the Duke explodes with a furious no. He tells the prince to leave, despite his bravery during the fire. Vane is completely stunned by this reaction. Your Grace, why? He asks, his voice filled with confusion. The Duke is having none of it. He won't let Vane near Abby again. He declares he's sending her away from the capital for her own safety. Anywhere else but here. He says he can shoulder the threats himself, but he will not allow his daughter to be put in danger any longer. The prince watches, understanding the Duke's pain. The Duke confesses he has nightmares about his late wife. He can't let Abby get caught in the middle of a power struggle. Vane's eyes glow with empathy. He gets it. He bows his head and offers a sincere apology. But he has some bombshell news about the fire. It wasn't a simple case of arson. The culprit is the same person who killed the Duchess years ago. The Duke is absolutely staggered. What? He gasps, his world tilting on its axis. Suddenly a maid bursts in, screaming for them. The young miss, she called out for Lord Vane. Vane immediately rushes to her bedroom. He stands over her unconscious form, his face a mask of worry. His mind flashes back to another terrible fire. The day the Grand Cathedral was set ablaze. Panicked citizens screamed that children were trapped inside. He ordered his men to wait and charged in alone. What a hero. This man is just built different. His knights could only watch in horror as he disappeared into the flames. He plunged headfirst into the chaotic, magical inferno. The smoke was thick, choking him. The magical flames had no effect on him, but the smoke was deadly. He unsheathes his sword. With a powerful swing, he clears the air around him. And that's when he saw her. It was Abby, glowing with a soft green light. She was using her own life force to save the people trapped inside. She winced in pain as she unleashed her power. The flames, they're turning into flowers. Vane was in awe of her incredible power. He caught her just as she collapsed from exhaustion. Abby, wake up, he pleaded, holding her tight. He reassured her worried maid, telling her to leave Abby to him. The children he rescued were crying his name in gratitude. That was the last time he had seen her awake. He carried our girl out of the smoldering, flower-filled ruins. She had given her all to save the innocent. Now, back in the present, he desperately begs her to wake up. Please wake up, he whispers, his voice thick with emotion. 2 weeks have passed since that day. The Duke keeps vigil by her bed, haunted by memories of his late wife. He remembers happier times when his family was complete. A perfect day in the garden filled with laughter. But every dream ends and he wakes up to an empty room, just him and the cold moonlight. He looks at his daughter, asking his wife's spirit if she's come to take Abby. He gently strokes her hair, his heart aching. If only you were here to take me away instead, he pleads to the empty room. Meanwhile, the mansion staff is gossiping. A mysterious mage has arrived and even the prince is here. The mage explains that the ice around Abby is a magic crystal. All the magic inside her body has been completely exhausted. The crystal is the only thing keeping her stable. The little prince is crying, devastated by her condition. The mage then drops the most savage diagnosis ever. He says she's going to die and they should start planning the funeral. Vane is furious, demanding another way. The mage says it's difficult. But there is one extremely risky option. They could inject a massive amount of magic directly into her body. Vane's eyes widen. The little prince volunteers, thinking he can do it. But the mage stops him. He knows the kid doesn't have the juice. His eyes are on Vane, sensing an incredible power. Vane unleashes his aura and it's absolutely terrifying. Dark, powerful magic swirls around him. The mage is shocked. This power is beyond what any mortal could endure. He immediately asks to speak with the Duke. He explains the dangerous plan. Vane will inject his magic into Abby, but it could be deadly for both of them. The Duke is understandably hesitant to risk his daughter's life. But Vane is resolute. He deeply admires Abby's courage. Please trust me, he says with conviction. I will bring her back. After a long, tense silence, the Duke makes his decision. He clasps Vane's hand, placing all his hope in him. The mage offers to assist with the ritual. Vane places his hands over Abby's, ready to begin. He pours his magic into her, diving deep into her subconscious. He calls out for her in the endless darkness. "Where are you?" he cries, searching for her lost soul. He floats through the void of her mind. He's determined to find her, and then he sees it. A familiar balcony under a starry sky, he sees her. "I found you," he thinks, relief washing over him. He reaches out and gently takes her hand. It's her, Abigail Candler. She's stunned. "Vane, how are you here?" She thinks he must have died too, since this is the rift between worlds. He quickly reassures her that he's still alive. But the flames of her trauma reappear, burning around them. She panics, screaming that her time is up and he has to leave. She warns that if he's consumed by the flames, he'll die as well. She tries to pull away, but he holds on tight. He's not letting go. He stays silent, focusing his immense power. Back in the real world, the others watch with bated breaths. The Duke is a nervous wreck, but the prince tells him they must have faith in them. Vane finally speaks. "So this is what you were dealing with." Abby freaks out, yelling that this isn't the time for small talk. He pulls her into a sudden, tight hug. He tells her that just as she never gave up on others, he won't give up on her. "Please trust me, Abby," he whispers. Her heart pounds in her chest. He promises he'll bring her back. The flames around them roar, growing even bigger. He holds her close, telling her not to worry. His eyes burn with an unshakable resolve. "Hang on tight," he says, and she nods, trusting him completely. He holds her securely in his arms. But then dark, thorny vines erupt from the fire, trying to drag them down. They wrap around them, pulling them back into the abyss. Vane summons a powerful magic shield, blocking the attack. In response, Abby's own light magic creates vines that push back the darkness. A path of light opens before them. The necklace on her chest glows brightly. The mage checks on Vane, who has returned to his body. He collapses, coughing, but he did it. Abby's fingers twitch and she lets out a soft sound. "She's awake, our girl is back." The mage assures them that she's no longer in any danger. The little prince introduces the mysterious mage. His name is Norman Strand, and boy is he a looker. He humbly calls himself a simple magician from the magic tower. But the little prince immediately calls him a liar, spilling the tea. This is chaotic. Our girl finds herself in a strange, watery dreamscape. She wonders who could possibly be here with her. Suddenly, a mysterious woman in a black veil appears. The woman's voice is a horrifying rasp. She speaks in riddles about being trapped in an eternal slumber. The figure is dark and terrifying. A true phantom of the night, our heroine can't make out her face. But she remembers a horrifying vision of bleeding scars. This isn't a dream, it's a straight-up nightmare. Suddenly, voices cut through the darkness, calling her name. It's her family. Her father is smiling at her. "Abby," they all cry out. Our girl's eyes flutter open. She's awake and her entire family is surrounding her bed. "Father, everyone," she whispers, finally back in reality. Her dad is a sobbing mess, vowing never to leave her side again. Her little brother clings to her, bawling his eyes out. The butler has to literally drag the boys away. He tells them she needs to rest, not be strangled with affection. Her father finally collects himself, looking utterly drained. He shoos everyone out so our poor girl can get some peace. As a result, Abby is put on strict bed rest. The entire mansion is in full-on panic mode about her health. They're even trying to spoon-feed her like a baby. Her brother is being the most extra, forbidding her from going outside. He literally latches onto her leg, refusing to let go. But you can't keep our girl locked up. She finally manages to escape her loving prison. She knows they're just being overprotective, but a girl needs some air. She gets it. She was unconscious for days and they were worried sick. As she walks through town, she hears people whispering. They're praising her as the hero who saved the children from the fire. Our girl gets a little flustered by all the attention, but then a familiar voice calls out her name. "Speak of the devil, it's the crown prince himself. And my God, he looks good." He asks how she managed to get outside already. Our girl is momentarily blinded by his sheer handsomeness. She plays it cool, just getting some fresh air, you know. She asks what he's doing here. He's overseeing the reconstruction of the ruined church. He looks at the rubble with a sad expression. He tells her the flowers she conjured will be removed too. The clergy believes they're an ominous sign. Abby can't hide her disappointment. He immediately notices her sad expression. "Why do you seem sad?" he asks, his voice full of concern. He tells her it wasn't worth it. She nearly died using up all her magic. This man is worried sick, but Abby just laughs it off. She tells him to look at the happy, bustling town. The truly meaningful things can't be so easily erased. He looks at her, completely captivated, but she can tell he's still carrying a heavy burden. Seriously, this guy needs to chill. She jokes to herself that he probably died from stress in a past life. What a savage. Suddenly, the wind picks up and she feels a wave of weakness leaning into him. A sudden coughing fit takes her. He looks down at her, instantly alarmed. She looks up, feeling dizzy. Without a word, he grabs her hand. Our girl is completely caught off guard. He tells her to hold on while he channels his magic into her. He's so serious and focused, it's making her swoon. She suddenly remembers this is how he woke her up before. Trust me, he says, and her heart just explodes. She's blushing furiously. My heart, she internally screams at her own chaotic heart to calm the heck down. He explains that with her magic depleted, his can now safely replenish hers. Before, the transfer would have been too painful. She feels his warm magic flowing into her body. It's working, he's like a handsome, walking power bank. She instantly feels much better. She thanks him, pulling her hand away. He smoothly changes the subject. How is Lady Emily, he asks. His expression darkens. He explains that Emily's face was disfigured in the fire. And what's worse is that she was deemed a demon for starting the cursed flames. The Emperor himself has made a decree. Emily is to be executed. The verdict has been passed. The sentence is death. Abby is horrified, but she's not a magician. The prince agrees, suspecting it was a curse and part of a larger conspiracy. Abby knows he's right. The enemy has already made their move, and now Abby's magic is public knowledge. Her father wants her to hide in the countryside or at the magic tower. She would have to go with Norman, the magician. Is there no other choice? She asks, unwilling to run away. She can't leave her father to face this alone. The prince smirks. He knew she'd say that. He says if she can't hide in the shadows, she must stand in the light. The only thing that can protect her now is the title of crown princess. Be engaged to me, he proposes, smooth as silk. Her immediate chibai response, all right, no problem, let's do that. The prince is completely stunned. That was not the reaction he was expecting. She asks if he's worried about something. Yeah. He explains that an engagement is different from their fake courtship. They'd have to act like real lovers. Oh, so you're worried about my acting? She teases. She immediately gets into character, leaning in close and calling him Dear Tilda. The poor boy is a blushing, stuttering mess. She's got him completely flustered, later back in her room. The reality of her actions hits her. She screams into her pillow, dying of second-hand embarrassment. Why did she do that? But she knows she has to stay and find the culprit. And besides, she has to admit the prince has a pretty good figure. Just then her door slams open. It's her brother, Patrick. He rushes in looking frantic and pulls her into another bone-crushing hug. Seriously, why does her family try to strangle her with love? But then she sees it, his arm is bleeding. She quickly heals the wound. She asks what happened. He tells her they were ambushed by men from the Lane's house. They captured the leader, but the guy won't talk. Abby gets a glint in her eye. Can't you use magic to interrogate him? The so-called magic turns out to be a tiny, violent fairy beating the man senseless. Our girl is unimpressed. This is just physical torture. Patrick explains her magic is too weak and her mother's necklace is useless now. Their only option is to bribe the gold-loving fairies to do their dirty work. Just then, another fairy arrives with a discovery. It's a fairy memory bubble found near the church. It can trace the magic back to the caster, but as the image inside forms, Abby freezes in shock. Her brother looks at the bubble and then at her. Abby, meanwhile, at the Lane's mansion. A Miss Carlatti is being denied entry. She's been refused 3 times and she's had enough. She storms past the staff and heads straight for the room. The maids try to stop her, but she kicks the door open herself. Peggy, you owe me an explanation, she yells. But she stops dead in her tracks. Peggy is covered head to toe in glowing, cursed runes. Everyone screams in horror. How could this happen? Peggy shrieks, looking at her own body in terror. She slams the door shut, collapsing in despair. Back outside, they realize Peggy's servant has also vanished. Peggy sees a newspaper on the floor, announcing Emily's execution for the fire. The horrifying truth dawns on her. Did I truly cause all of this? Her brother snaps her out of it, asking what she saw in the memory bubble. He can tell something is deeply wrong. Our girl plays it cool, claiming she was just lost in thought. But inside, she's panicking, realizing she almost confessed everything. She knows Peggy is involved, but she wonders if an ordinary person could use such dark magic. Could Peggy really have done all this by herself? Meanwhile, Peggy is a complete mess, sobbing in a dark room. Suddenly, a voice calls her name. The door creaks open and Peggy flinches in terror. A mysterious woman steps inside, asking why Peggy is avoiding her. Peggy completely loses it, screaming at her to get out. But the voice calmly says, Peggy, it's me. It's her best friend Lorraine who swoops in for a comforting hug. She gently pulls Peggy's hands away from her face. I'm always here for you, she says with a syrupy sweet voice. But Peggy is ashamed of the curse marks and tries to hide. Lorraine isn't having it, claiming she's already seen them. She asks what Peggy needs to make it all better. With tears in her eyes, Peggy makes a desperate plea. Take me somewhere no one can find me. A slow, wicked smile spreads across Lorraine's face. Of course, she says. She spirits Peggy away to a lavish private estate. She promises Peggy will be safe there, a total lie. Peggy gratefully accepts, not suspecting a thing. She takes a bite of cake, finally feeling a moment of relief. It's so sweet, just like her friend's betrayal. As maids bustle around, Peggy feels a wave of emotion. She thinks Lorraine is the only person in the world who cares about her. Lorraine just smiles and says that's what best friends are for. She tells Peggy to rest, acting like the perfect confidant. As Peggy tries to speak, Lorraine gently shushes her. "Tell me when you're ready," she coos the absolute snake. The second she's alone, her sweet facade shatters. A small chuckle escapes her lips, then a full-blown chaotic laugh. She cackles into the sky like a true villainess. "My fate, it really changed," she screams. She looks down at her own hand, now perfectly clean. The curse has been transferred and poor Peggy is now the scapegoat. Turns out Lorraine was a puppet in her past life. She was used by that jerk Carl, and she's not about to let it happen again. She finds it hilarious that she's now friends with the idiot who's taking the fall for her. "It's only right for you to bear this for me," she thinks. What a savage. Now she can finally stand by her true love's side. She believes her love for Vane transcends time itself. But there's a problem. An annoying woman who worked for Carl in the past life. The great magician Candler. Lorraine fumes, remembering how Candler stole the show at the festival. The common folk are still gossiping about her incredible magic. A wicked idea begins to form in Lorraine's mind. She'll manipulate Abby into finding Peggy the murderer so justice can be served. And poor, naive Peggy sits alone, a pawn in a twisted game of revenge. Back with our girl, Abby is deep in thought. When she was reborn, her goal was simple: reform the cursed emperor. Or if that failed, just get rid of him entirely. But simply replacing him is off the table. Because this time, Carl has his past life memories too. He taunts her, asking if she really thinks she can control fate. He points out that nothing has really changed. Abby stares at the shattered statue of her family's ancestor, the great magician Candler. One moment a servant is polishing it, the next it cracks and shatters into a million pieces. A terrible omen. It reminds her of how their family's mining vein was destroyed. She had never seen her family so worried. That's when she realized how selfish she'd been. It's the reason she agreed to work with Vane. He helped her family, and they became his leverage against the emperor. But things are different now. First, there's Vane. The ruthless executioner from her past life is now a man of quiet composure. And let's be real, he's also gotten ridiculously stronger. Then there was the fire. Her head throbs trying to piece together the fragmented memories. Her brother Patrick's voice cuts through her thoughts. He gives her a much-needed hug and asks if the prisoner confessed. Abby confirms the fairies got the truth. Duke Lanes was behind the mine collapses. But when he asks about the arsonist, she hesitates. The vision showed Peggy, but Abby can't be sure. She needs to confirm things with Carl first. Abby's voice is laced with cold fury. "Brother, that fire is the one that killed our mother. If she can find the cause, she can find the killer. She is going to get her revenge, and no one can stop her." Patrick takes her hand, his expression grim. "I won't stop you." He then adds with chilling intensity, "I'll kill whoever it is myself." Later that night, a hooded figure lurks outside the temple. Covered in curse marks, they begin to chant a dark incantation. The ground cracks as a fierce fire erupts from their hands. The entire temple is engulfed in flames. A guard spots them and shouts. The arsonist panics and flees, dropping something on the ground. The guard rushes over to pick it up. It's the unmistakable emblem of the Lanes family. The trap has been sprung. The church is on fire again, and the whole city is in chaos. The emperor is publicly reaming out the crown prince for the disaster. He demands that the culprit be found immediately. The emperor is absolutely livid, his face turning a terrifying shade of red. He gives the prince an ultimatum: find the arsonist or forfeit the crown. Our poor prince can only kneel and accept the impossible task. But just then, a subordinate arrives with a lead. They've found a witness to the fire. A terrified man is brought forward, swearing it wasn't him. He claims he saw a woman in a black robe chanting spells right before the church burst into flames. He didn't see her face, but her hands were covered in strange patterns. And she dropped something as she fled. It's a family crest, the Lanes family crest to be exact. His aide reports that Miss Lanes hasn't been seen in public for a while now. The prince's eyes glow a dangerous red as he puts the pieces together. His aide then cheekily asks if he's thinking about Miss Abby. Looks like it's time for our boy to face his partner. The scene shifts to a picturesque autumn date. Our girl Abby is there trying to coach the awkward prince. She reminds him they have to act like a couple since everyone is watching them. And she's right, the gossip is flying. He apologizes for his father's public tantrum, but she just offers him some fruit. He knows this little date will only make the emperor angrier, but he has something for her. He leans in so close our girl's heart starts pounding. He gently takes her hand. Much to her surprise, he places the Lanes family crest in her palm. He tells her it was found at the scene, implicating the Lanes family. But Abby reveals a shocking twist. She had fairies collect magic from the scene, and it does belong to Peggy. The prince says he needs to tell her something important about the dream he had. Turns out someone else shares the exact same dream, a person who is deeply connected to Peggy. But just as he's about to reveal who, someone yanks the ground beneath them. It's the prince's younger brother, Carl, and he looks absolutely unhinged. He's trying to physically pull them apart, screaming at them to let go. Our girl is stunned to see him acting so crazy. The prince, however, is just smirking, thinking this chaos is part of the dating experience. Abby and Carl get into a screaming match. The prince just sighs, saying fate brought them together. He feels like he's trying to wrangle two feral cats. After the chaos dies down, introductions are made. Abby is suddenly the picture of Grace sipping her tea. The prince asks his brother why he's crashing their date. Carl says he heard his brother was meeting the girl he likes and had to see who it was. The prince is surprised they know each other. And then Abby drops the bomb. Carl is the one who shares her dreams. Carl absolutely loses it, furious that she told his brother. The prince coolly explains they're in a cooperative romantic relationship. Abby tries to get information from Carl, but he's being difficult. He doesn't want to talk in front of his brother. But one look from the crown prince is all it takes. Carl immediately turns into an eager puppy ready to spill all the tea. He proudly proclaims that in his dream he became the emperor and then destroyed the entire world. The prince is just like, huh? He then asks if Carl knows Peggy. Carl happily chirps that Peggy was his wife in his past life. Our girl is speechless. This guy is a whole new level of chaotic. Abby asks the million-dollar question, why destroy the world? Carl goes quiet, saying they should talk about it later. The prince looks on, deep in thought. So Abby pivots, asking about the church fire in his past life. Carl says his memories are a mess. He recalls a fire, but in that timeline, Abby saved everyone except the empress. Apparently, the empress could also use magic. She knelt for 3 days and brought forth a miracle that extinguished the flames. But he never found out who the culprit was, which means it might not have been Peggy. Carl then gets jealous of how close they are. But the prince just tells him to get used to it. Just as Carl starts another tantrum, another guest arrives. It's Lorraine, and our girl immediately gets a weird vibe. She notices the way Lorraine looks at the prince. Trying to shake it off, she greets her friend. Lorraine joins their chaotic picnic. She grabs Abby's hands, full of worry, saying everyone thinks Peggy started the fire. She begs Abby to prove Peggy's innocence. Abby is confused. How did the rumor even start? Lorraine explains the family crest was found at the scene. And worse, Peggy's own father has already condemned her. Lorraine insists they go to Peggy's house together. The prince says he'll come too, but Abby warns him his presence will only make things worse. Lorraine looks ticked off, but grabs Abby's arm and they head off. They arrive at the Grand Lanes Manor. The butler greets them and confirms Peggy is in her room. He leads them down a long hall and opens the door to Peggy's room, but the girls freeze in shock. The person inside is a complete stranger. The butler calls her Lottie. Just then, Duke Lanes appears. He smugly introduces the girl as Lottie, the true lady of the house. When Abby asks about Peggy, he scoffs, calling her a criminal. He's already disowned her. Abby is horrified, but the Duke is ruthless. Her reputation is ruined, so she's no longer his daughter. He claims to have evidence against her. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream rips through the mansion. Everyone looks down the hall where terrified maids are pointing. There's a trail of blood on the floor. Our girl notices it leads to a secret passage. She steals her nerves. We have to investigate. Grabbing a torch, they cautiously head into the darkness. Down the stone steps they go, only to find a horrific sight at the bottom. A woman lies dead in a pool of blood, and scrawled on the wall are the words, "Punishment." Lorraine trembles, wondering if Peggy did this. But the Duke starts screaming like a madman. It's the witch, we must find her, we must burn her. An angry mob has found their target and they are out for blood. Inside, Peggy trembles in fear. She's been discovered. Lorraine promised her this place was safe, but it was all a lie. A voice calls her name, full of fake concern. It's Lorraine, standing outside with the mob, pretending to be her friend. She tells Peggy to stop struggling, that everyone already knows what she did. Our girl Abigail can only watch in horror as this chaos unfolds. The crowd screams for punishment, whipped into a frenzy. One man is absolutely livid. Another noble tries to calm him down, but it's no use. He screams that Peggy is a sinner who burned down the church, and then he hurls a flaming torch right at the mansion. The building explodes into a massive inferno. The two ladies are horrified, but before anyone can react, a powerful force sweeps through the crowd. It's Prince Vane, and he has had enough of this nonsense. He grabs the arsonist by the throat, his eyes glowing with rage. He orders the guards to control the crowd, but the mob has gone completely feral, chanting for more fire. Our girl realizes something is deeply wrong. This wasn't a spontaneous riot, this was planned. She turns to Vane, her eyes pleading. She asks for his strength, insisting they can't let Peggy die without a proper investigation. He doesn't hesitate for a second. All right. He takes her hand, and her holy power flows through his fingertips. Together, they begin to cast a massive purification spell. With their powers combined, they summon a cleansing rain. The magical downpour starts to douse the raging fire. But someone is not happy about this. Abigail Candler, it's Lorraine, and her face is pure, unadulterated rage. She seethes, calling our girl an eyesore who is always in her way. Thanks to their quick thinking, the fire is completely extinguished. Vane holds Abigail steady, but she pushes him away, saying they need to find Peggy. Just then a guard calls out, "They found something." The prince and our heroine turn to look. It's a grim discovery in the ashes. Later in the throne room, the nobles are demanding justice. One duke tells the emperor that Peggy got what she deserved. He wishes he could have torn her to pieces himself, yikes. But the emperor's aide is slick. He points out how suspicious that sounds. He even suggests the duke started the fire to hide evidence. The duke completely loses his composure, sputtering in protest. The emperor just smiles, "I believe in your loyalty, Lanes." However, oh, you know what comes after that however is gonna be savage. He demands the duke hand over all his military power, the ultimate checkmate. Next, he turns his attention to Miss Carlatti. Lorraine puts on her best sad face. She plays the part of the betrayed friend perfectly, earning the emperor's pity. He rewards her for finding the criminal with lavish gifts. She can barely contain her smug grin, but then the emperor's gaze falls on Abigail. His tone turns to ice. He's about to punish our girl. Abigail stands her ground, ready for the verdict. The emperor accuses her of helping a criminal who burned down a church and killed people. She nervously glances to the side, her heart pounding. But just as the sentence is passed, Vane steps in front of her. He blocks the emperor's path, a silent protector. Vane, he addresses the emperor directly, his voice ringing with authority. He reminds everyone that Miss Candler saved lives and defended the emperor's honor. The aide tries to argue, but Vane shuts him down. Only His Majesty has the right to judge. He points out that the rioters were the ones usurping imperial power by using flames. Lorraine scoffs, calling his logic far-fetched. But the silver-haired knight tells her she has no right to interject. "Get told, girl." Lorraine is left speechless. Vane continues his epic defense, recalling how Abigail turned flames to flowers and was never rewarded. So he asks what reward is fitting for such a grand achievement. He smirks, such an achievement is indeed hard to measure with money. Our girl is completely shocked by where this is going. He turns to her, "I admire Miss Candler." The entire court holds its breath. Then he drops the biggest bomb of all, "Please allow me to marry Miss Candler." Absolute chaotic legend, he asks again, his voice firm and unwavering. The emperor looks completely unamused by this public proposal. Our girl knows this isn't over, the final decision rests with him. But wait, another player enters the game. Duke Candler requests an audience. The grand doors of the throne room swing open. It's Abigail's father and brother here to back her up. Her brother greets the emperor with a formal bow. He officially requests a marriage alliance between the Candler family and the royal family. And he's brought a little engagement gift, a massive, flawless magic crystal. The court gasps at the sight of it. The emperor is stunned. Its quality is beyond anything he's ever seen. But her brother isn't done. He offers the entire crystal mine to the crown. He bows low, asking the emperor to grant his request. Later, Abigail confronts her dad. "How could you give away the mine?" She's baffled. "Weren't you against my relationship with the crown prince?" He just sips his tea. "As an open-minded parent, I've come around." Our girl is having flashbacks to his actual reaction. He was screaming, "Absolutely not." He literally called Vane an evil demon who stole my daughter. The difference between then and now is hilarious. Her father calmly explains that staying by the prince's side is the safest place for her. He looks at her with such love. He tells her that mines and crystals are just things. They mean nothing compared to her. Our poor heroine is so touched she could cry. "Father." She sits, overwhelmed by her family's support. As she gazes out the window, she sees a familiar figure. It's Vane, standing patiently in the garden. She wonders if she missed a letter, but he doesn't look like he just arrived. The maid confirms he's been waiting for a long time. He looks up and their eyes meet. She hurries down to see him. He simply asks her to take a walk with him. He's unusually quiet as they stroll through the garden. Our girl wonders why he isn't saying anything. She figures he must be feeling awful after the incident with Peggy. She tries to think of a way to comfort him, but it's harder than she expected. He finally speaks, asking her a shocking question. If she had nothing to do with it, do you know what kind of person she was in her past life? Abigail freezes. How does he know about past lives? He tells her Peggy was once the vase empress, loved only for her beauty. In that life, she was happy and carefree with her lover, the emperor. Yet in this life, she met such a tragic end. A horrifying thought crosses Abigail's mind. Did her rebirth cause this? The guilt is overwhelming. All she ever wanted was to protect her family. Vane sees the distress on her face. He gently places a hand on her back. He's never seen her look so heartbroken and wonders how to help. He decides a distraction is in order, magically wiping away her tears. "Let's discuss the engagement party." And just like that, she snaps back to normal. He's stunned by her quick recovery. She's immediately all business, planning the sacred day and the engagement rings. She's already thinking about outfits and getting her fashion-forward brother involved. Her smile is back, bright as ever. She talks about the guest list, needing all the major families to be there. She takes a deep breath, trying to focus on the happy future ahead. Vane watches her, then suggests they should have plenty of flowers. She lights up at the idea, saying a sea of flowers would bring everyone joy. She turns to him beaming but then notices he's busy with his hands. What are you doing? He holds up his creation. He made her a beautiful flower crown. He gently places it on her head. He jokes that his sword-fighting hands are still good for something. He looks at her tenderly. I don't know how to comfort you, but you won't be facing this alone. His eyes soften as he looks at the woman he loves, my fiancée. Our villainess is enjoying a peaceful moment, just humming to herself. But her tranquility is shattered when a maid calls out to her. The poor girl trips, sending the tea set flying. She is absolutely mortified. The expensive china shatters on the floor. But our girl isn't mad. She's worried the maid is bleeding. With a gentle smile, she tells her not to worry about the plate. The maid is so relieved she could cry. But don't be fooled by her kindness. In her second life, she knows arguing with maids is pointless. She's not some cheap villain like Peggy. She gave Peggy a more fitting end. Our girl's methods are far more subtle. Then an invitation arrives. An engagement party for Vane Stewart and Abigail Candler. Abigail, the woman who's a nuisance in both of her lives. In the last life, she was a grandmage. In this one, she's engaged to Vane, destined to be the crown princess. Our girl's jealousy burns hotter than a candle flame. She thinks it's all so unfair. As the invitation burns, she dreams of Abigail's downfall. She whispers that she's the only one who truly loves Lord Vane. She even remembered him after he died in their past life, visiting his grave. The obsession is real and she will never forget. Just then, a servant announces a visitor. She's been summoned by that lord. A wicked smile spreads across her face, so it's finally here. She follows the servant down a long, familiar hallway. She remembers this hall from her last life and her eyes gleam with resolve. The grand doors swing open. Inside are Her Majesty the Empress and the third prince. Our girl offers her greetings. The little prince is asleep, looking sickly as ever. The Empress's voice is cold, you're here. She sneers, saying it's only natural for someone praised by the Emperor to be difficult to invite. She passive-aggressively notes how late she is. Our girl is shocked by the accusation, but the Empress is relentless. She wonders if our girl's actions were too cruel. Flashing back to some bloody incident, she calls the victims lowly and praises our girl for a job well done after blowing up a mansion. She'd rather trust a valuable executioner than useless garbage. Suddenly, the little prince screams in terror. The Empress immediately panics, trying to soothe her baby. Our girl calmly steps forward, activating a magic circle and placing a hand on his head. Just like that, the boy is fast asleep again. The Empress coughs, regaining her composure. Let's get back to business, she says. The Candler family's alliance with the Crown Prince is a threat, and her own son is not in good condition. Without him, her status and family would crumble into nothing. She turns to our girl with a deadly serious request. You know the source of his power, she says. She wants her to cast a blood contract curse on Vane. In return, she'll grant her anything she desires. The Empress repeats her offer. Anything she desires, she shall have it. What is your answer, she demands. Our girl thinks to herself, this is the second time she's heard this offer. She respectfully asks for some time to think. The Empress gives her a final deadline, 3 days. Our heroine knows this is a trap. If she agrees, she'll probably die without a sound. She contemplates her next move, the weight of the decision on her shoulders. The Empress used to be a humble stepdaughter, but now she tramples on others at will. Meanwhile, in a faraway forest, a battle has just ended. Vane stands over a slain monster, looking as cold and handsome as ever. He orders his men to stay alert while he handles the leader himself. One of the knights hesitates, but a death glare from Vane shuts him up fast. The knights know better than to question him. Vane punches a tree in frustration, before slumping down to rest. But he's not alone. A voice calls him pathetic. It's our girl perched on a branch above him. She notes that the Empress's curse must be painful, and offers to heal him. She floats down gracefully, but he immediately recoils. It's you again, he grits out. She asks why he avoids her so much. Is it because of the strange magical markings on her body? Markings she got just so she could be closer to him. He doesn't answer, he just tells her he doesn't need healing and walks away. He warns her to never show up in front of him again. She's left alone, wondering why it always ends like this. Will he still reject her when her hand is the only one left to pull him from hell? Back at the palace, the Empress calls her out. She knows she's been following Vane for 2 days. What do you feel towards him? She asks with a sly smile. She warns that the curse will cause great damage. Our girl just smiles coldly. Damage, so what? It will only kill him, that's all. The Empress asks for her answer again, but our girl says she doesn't need 3 days. She launches into a dramatic performance, pretending she can't watch the young prince suffer or let Vane cast a shadow over her family. The Empress isn't buying it. My investigations say your feelings for him are special, she says. Our girl drops the act with a chilling grin. She knows what fate he'll face, but it's a necessary sacrifice for the Carlatti family. Then she states her price. When it's all over, the Empress must allow her to marry him. As long as I can be with him rightfully, that's enough for me, she says with a twisted smile. The empress smirks, agreeing to grant her wish. Our girl can barely contain her wicked glee. She mocks the empress for being shocked. You don't have memories of your past life, so it's natural you don't understand my intentions, she says smugly. Her plan is simple. If Vane is in pain during the engagement ceremony, Abigail will be blamed and cast out as a sinner. And with the spell cast, the prince's life is now in her hands too. She has the empress completely cornered. She believes Vane's pain is a sacrifice for their future. A future where they can be together. Back in the library, Vane is being updated on the search for the missing Prince Carl. He's furious that the Emperor doesn't seem to care. He worries about his friend, his expression filled with rage and concern. Suddenly, he grunts in pain, clutching the brooch on his chest as dark energy surges through him. The curse has begun. His aide panics as Vane collapses. In the quiet of the prince's bedroom, someone is watching over him. It's Prince Vane, still unconscious from the mana overload. He's been asleep for a while now. But then his eyes slowly blink open. He wakes up to find our girl smiling down at him. She gently says, "Hey, you're awake." Our sweet heroine has been waiting by his side. He groggily asks why she's here. Still dazed, he tries to sit up. She explains that she just waltzed in, announcing she was his fiancé, and his servants were more than happy to let her in, even suggesting she move in. Honestly, the staff is shipping them harder than anyone. She places a hand over his, beginning the healing process. May the gentle flow of mana soothe you. A warm light envelops their hands. He sighs in relief, feeling a heavy burden lift from his shoulders. He asks if absorbing so much mana hurts her. Vane admits there's still a little pain, but he's getting used to it. Our girl just gives him a reassuring smile. She tells him he can't just sleep forever, he has a mountain of duties to handle. And boy, is it a big mountain. She finally asks the important question, why did he suddenly faint? He takes her hand, ready to finally tell her the truth. He starts explaining about a resurrection magic array he activated in his past life. An array meant to bring her back to life. He gets a serious look on his face. He asks her, "You don't seem surprised by your death in your past life." She cheekily offers to diagnose him by feeling his muscles. "Girl, I see you." He is not amused. He explains that he's immune to magic, but it comes at a terrible price. Anyone who touches him feels immense pain. It's a power he can barely control. For the longest time, he believed he was cursed. In a flashback, a royal advisor tells the emperor that the prince is possessed by a demon. The advisor points accusingly. He demands they expel the evil spirit from the prince's body immediately. As a child, Vane was subjected to brutal purification rituals. He collapses from the sheer agony. The guards just coldly order him to stand up. He struggles to get back on his feet all alone. He grits his teeth and forces himself up. He tells her at first absorbing spells was intensely painful, but over time he learned to take in every single spell thrown at him. But that wasn't what his garbage father wanted. The emperor, with a cruel smile, claimed the evil spirits were still inside him. So he threw his own son into a forest full of demonic beasts. A tiny Vane was forced to face a terrifying monster alone. But someone saved him. It was Lady Candler. A powerful mage stood between him and the beast, protecting him. Our girl is floored. "Lady Candler, you mean my mother?" He confirms it. Yes, it was her mother. In the flashback, her mom explains his unique condition. She comforts the terrified little boy, calling his body troublesome. Little Vane cries, saying he doesn't want to hurt anyone. Her mother hands him a piece of cloth. She tells him if he wears gloves, he'll be able to touch other people. And that was the moment he started wearing them. Back in the present, Abby realizes he wears gloves because of her mother's kindness. She gives him the softest, most genuine smile. He warns her that her own power is growing and her body might not be able to handle it. She looks up, a little worried by his words. He then looks at her and says, "Thank you, Abby." The way he says her name just hits different. A poor girl's heart just got hit by a truck. Critical hit, her system is overloading with feels. She gets completely flustered and says she has to go. And with that, she literally runs away, chaotic. She quickly gets into her carriage to leave. As she departs, she thinks about her plan. If she can stabilize his mana, maybe he can avoid his early death. Her goal is simple: live a long life, kick out the emperor, and put Carl on the throne. Vane would be so confused if he heard this, but a thought nags at her. Is the mana turbulence really the true cause of his death? She feels like she's missing a critical piece of the puzzle. Just then, she spots a familiar figure in the garden. It's the handsome silver-haired mage. He gives her a charming smile. She's surprised to see him here. He tells her it's no coincidence he came looking for her. He's glad to see her health has recovered, but he senses something strange mixed in with her mana. He has a request for her. He asks her to bring a specific ruby necklace to the magic tower. He can't explain why, but he promises she'll gain something from it. Then he brings up the hairpin he gave her. His promise still stands. If she ever needs his help, she just has to put it in a vase. She thought she already used her one favor. She laughs, relieved. He explains that favor was paid for by her brother's empty wallet. They share a laugh about poor Erin. He looks at her warmly, telling her this new promise is hers alone. "Don't forget it," he says with a smile. Later, another bouquet arrives from Prince Vane. The maids are whispering, wondering if this is true love. A girl holds the flowers, lost in thought. She doesn't think it's love, not yet anyway. But she admits the line between business partners and genuine affection is getting blurry. They've been spending more time together, greeting each other on the street. One day, Prince Vane approaches her during her walk. He just wanted to say hello. Her friend points out that the prince's face is completely red. He's blushing. They even go to the theater together. The owner, a total shipper, insisted they share a private box. And Vane, surprisingly, adapted to the situation quite smoothly. During the outing, a flower on her dress withers. She looks at it sadly. Vane notices and tells her he can create a new one. She's surprised and tells him he doesn't have to. But he insists, using his magic to manifest a beautiful new flower. He presents it to her with a proud smile. He then asks if she wants to try taking off her gloves. He slowly removes his own glove. But as his bare hand gets close to the magic flower, it instantly withers into dust. His power is just too strong. Whoops, he says he moved without thinking. But he's not discouraged. He notices he can control his absorption better now. He looks at her and says he can just make as many as she wants. The moment is sweet and tender. She thinks to herself that he's surprisingly easy to get along with. She wishes these moments could last, but she knows the truth. They are just partners, a means to an end. There's still so much they have to deal with. And she knows if Vane ever finds someone he truly loves, she'll have to step aside. Meanwhile, back at her mansion, her family is in full-blown panic mode. Her brothers are terrified of even touching her engagement dress. The maid explains that no one dared to disturb her. Her father is even more dramatic, suggesting they all pack their bags and run away. Our girl has to calm everyone down, reminding them they are a team. She asks them to help her with the engagement veil and their spirits lift. Soon, she's standing before them in the stunning dress. She asks them what they think. But elsewhere, in a dark and lonely room, another woman is plotting. A voice from a mirror taunts her, asking if she's gone soft. A sinister figure appears in the reflection. The woman smirks, saying she's excited. She can't wait to see a pitiful woman fall from grace. She says it all requires a small price. This woman is obsessed with Vane, claiming her love transcends lifetimes. And she's bound him with a cursed, unbreakable contract. A burning pain shoots through her arm as glowing runes appear. The cursed contract is taking its toll on her body. She clutches her arm, wishing someone named Peggy was still here to help. The pain is immense, but she's determined. With a chilling look, she declares this is the price she must pay. The clock tower chimes, signaling the start of the ceremony. Guests murmur amongst themselves, surprised the wedding is actually happening. After all, this is the cursed Prince Vane they are talking about. And there she is, our girl Abigail, looking like an absolute goddess. This day has finally arrived. She and the prince stand together at the altar, a picture-perfect couple. He gently takes her hand and whispers her name. He gives her a smile that could melt glaciers. Our girl is a little stunned by his sincerity, but her mind drifts, feeling like this is all a dream. She almost expects to wake up back at the magic tower. Vane snaps her out of it, asking if she's all right. He tells her she was spacing out for a while. The priest begins the rites, uniting the two families through this engagement. This is an alliance, not a romance. As the ceremony continues, they look every bit the royal couple. Abigail thinks about how this is supposed to be a joyous memory. But is it really? Still, she admits the emotions feel genuine. She looks at her father in the crowd, her brothers, and her loyal servants. She even sees her friends smiling at her. She feels so blessed, but has one regret. She wishes her mother could have been here to see her. The thought brings a wave of sorrow. Why was she reborn after her mother had already passed away? She wishes she could have seen her just one more time. A memory floods her mind. A time when she was a little girl looking for her mother. She would knock on a large wardrobe, playing hide and seek. "Mother, are you in there?" She remembers her mother's gentle voice and warm embrace. Snapping back to the present, she wonders why she thought of that now. Suddenly, Vane lets out a sharp cough. Our girl turns to him, worried. He says he's fine, but he clearly isn't. After the ceremony, they greet the cheering crowds. The people are thrilled to see their prince and his new bride. Abigail thanks him for everything he's done to protect her. She gives him a warm, genuine smile. But then his eyes flash a dangerous red, and he collapses, coughing violently. The crowd screams as chaos erupts. The emperor is horrified. Abigail tries to catch him as he falls. A dark, sinister energy pours out of him. In the aftermath, the papers have a field day. Prince Vane is in a coma and Abigail has been imprisoned. They're spinning a wild story, calling her a spy and an arsonist. Her brothers are reading the slanderous articles in disbelief. Aaron explodes with rage. What is this nonsense? A servant informs them the estate is surrounded, and their father has been summoned to the palace. Aaron demands to know how his brother can be so calm. Alan says he's anything but calm. He wants to storm the palace, but he can't. Abby is their hostage and something is very wrong. Meanwhile, our poor heroine is chained in a cold, dark prison cell. She knows this is no ordinary jail. She remembers the moment it all went wrong. The emperor didn't even hesitate. He immediately ordered her arrest. She could have escaped with her magic, but she didn't. If she ran, her family would be ruined, and she couldn't just abandon Vane. She realizes she walked right into a perfectly laid trap. She's been left completely powerless in the cell. She tries to summon her mana, but it's just a tiny spark. It fizzles out instantly. The mana in the air is too thin to cast any magic. Just as she's losing hope, she touches her hair. The hairpin, they didn't take it. She remembers the man who gave it to her. A secret signal for when she's in trouble, but just as a plan begins to form, she hears footsteps. Someone's coming, she quickly hides the pin. A figure appears outside her cell. It's Lorraine, her rival. Abigail demands to know what she's doing here. Lorraine just gives her a sickeningly sweet smile. "I'm here," she purrs, "because I wanted to see you make a fool of yourself." The sheer venom in her eyes is terrifying. Our girl can't believe it. "You're joking, right?" But Lorraine's smile only widens. "In 5 days, we won't see each other again. Why pretend?" "Because in 5 days," she sneers, "you'll be heading for the guillotine." Lorraine had always known something was off about our girl. She just never guessed the full extent of it. Abigail's life magic, the kind that makes flowers bloom, was almost unheard of. She recalls a memory urging Abigail to use her powers, setting a little trap. She knew our girl's magic would make the flowers wither instead. Then came the incident with Peggy. Abigail didn't even try to defend her supposed best friend. Instead, she kicked her while she was down, absolutely savage. And now, Lorraine is here to deliver the final blow. With a chilling smile, she tells Abigail she has 5 days until her execution. Our poor girl is completely stunned. The charges are read out: arson, accomplice to a sinner, and a witch plotting against the prince. Lorraine mockingly asks if that's enough to kill her. She tells Abigail she could escape, but her family's lives are on the line. The Emperor wants their magic crystal mine, and this is how he'll get it. If she accepts her fate quietly, her family will be spared. Abigail demands to know why she's being told all this. The reason is simple and petty. Lorraine wants the crown prince for herself. Abigail's eyes widen in horror. "What has this psycho done?" "What exactly did you do?" she asks, trembling. Lorraine plays innocent, claiming she can't use magic, but she reveals she's been watching Abigail for a long, long time. She was the cloaked figure lurking in the shadows. Our girl had sensed her mana back then, but Lorraine had lied, saying it was just her guard. A nobody hiding in the shadows. She's only spilling the tea now because Abigail will be dead soon. She gives the most terrifying smile ever and twists the knife, promising to take very good care of Vane. "He won't even remember you existed," she whispers. The rage in Abigail's eyes is practically volcanic, but she's trapped. We flash back to Vane's perspective. He remembers seeing something strange, a glimpse of dark magic patterns under Lorraine's wrist. The scene shifts again to the Empress and her dying son. She's coughing, her own life force fading. She dismisses her worried maid. She's been pouring her own mana into her son to keep him alive, but the cost is immense. All she can do is watch him sleep. She strokes his head, whispering her final wish. "Whatever happens, you must survive." Back in the cell, it all clicks for Abigail. The pattern was dark magic. This means Lorraine has been lying this whole time. And a horrifying thought enters her mind. Could Lorraine also be reincarnated? Abigail sighs, the situation looking completely hopeless. But our girl is a fighter. During the confrontation, she secretly borrowed some of Lorraine's magic. She forms a glowing butterfly, a beacon of hope. It flutters past the unsuspecting Lorraine. This tiny messenger flies out of the dark prison. It carries her desperate plea through the night sky. It journeys across the city, finally landing on the door of a certain someone. A hand gently catches the butterfly. It's the mysterious mage Norman. He understands the message. Looks like it's time to fulfill the promise. We jump back to the past, where Lorraine offers a cursed orb to the Empress. The Empress smirks, completely unaware she's being played. Meanwhile, the Emperor is being manipulated by his new mistress, Teresa. He's suddenly finding the Empress incredibly irritating. The man looks at his wife with pure disgust. He can't stand the sight of her anymore. Not when he has his new little treasure. The Empress tries to ask if he's okay, and he brutally shuts her down. He storms off, not even trying to hide his contempt. He decides to check on their son and Sultan. The Empress follows, her heart breaking. She calls out to her child, but when she gets closer, she sees a horrifying black aura. It's swirling around her son's bed. She lets out a piercing scream. The Emperor rushes in, shocked by the scene. He holds his wife back as she collapses in terror. "How could this happen?" she cries. She realizes the unthinkable. He's not breathing. Just then, someone arrives. It's Lorraine, with the worst timing imaginable. The Empress had summoned her, and now she's here to gloat. She curtsies, feigning politeness. She offers her fake condolences, immediately blaming Abigail for the prince's death. The empress snaps, "Shut up." She's filled with a mother's rage. But Lorraine plays the victim, acting as if she's done nothing wrong. Then she goes for the throat, listing all of the empress's secret crimes, including the murder of Abigail's mother. The empress tries to attack with magic, but it's gone. Lorraine reveals the ultimate betrayal. She reversed the spell. All of the empress's mana has been absorbed by Vane. The empress is left completely powerless and broken. Lorraine mocks her. Did she really want to marry a comatose prince? No, Lorraine says with a smirk. He will wake up. Back at the Candler estate, a maid bursts in with terrible news. She holds up a newspaper. The headline is devastating. Princess Abigail killed the third prince. Her brother sees red. I can't take this anymore. He's ready to commit treason to save his sister. His brother tries to stop him, telling him it's a suicide mission. But he won't be stopped. He's taking his private army. But then a calm voice cuts through the chaos. It's Norman the mage with Abigail's butterfly on his shoulder. Abigail's voice echoes from it, pleading for help. Her brothers are stunned. It's really her. Norman gets straight to the point. He's here at Abigail's request. He needs to borrow their mother's ruby necklace. It's the only thing that can save everyone. We see a memory of their beautiful mother, Arsha. The necklace she wore holds immense power. Norman urges them to hurry. There's no time to hesitate. He asks about Prince Carl, and there he is, sporting a fresh battle scar. Carl just brushes it off, saying it was a little accident. He gets right down to business, promising he can prove Abigail's innocence. He just needs 3 more days and the Duke's full support. The plan is simple: surround the execution ground with troops. He's dead serious about clearing our girl's name. The Duke notices Carl has the aura of a future emperor. 2 powerful men united by a single cause. The Duke asks why Carl still doubts their rebirth. Carl hits back, calling him a hesitant, time-rewinding mage. The Duke pulls out the mysterious heart necklace. He admits he's a skeptic by nature. But this changed everything. He explains it contains forbidden magic, a resurrection array. But it's a flawed spell that only grants a year of life at a terrible cost. Carl looks deeply unimpressed to be getting this lecture from him. The Duke insists that old magic can't turn back time. The only unknown factors are Abigail and this necklace. He suspects she engraved some powerful, unseen magic onto it. Carl quietly processes this explosive new theory. He asks the Duke what he's planning to do. The Duke turns, his expression grim. It's not my move to make, he says, it's the Empress's. Carl is completely lost. The Duke reveals the revival array came from the old Empress's notes. In the last timeline, she used his own brother as the core for the spell. His brother's immense power kept her child alive, but it was only for a short time, because he was sent to the battlefield to die, a convenient tragedy. The Duke has been investigating his brother's death ever since. He remembers the Empress trying the spell again and how he stopped her as a child. The poor kid was horrified. Carl is stunned. You're saying Abigail has seen this magic array. The Duke clarifies he only showed her a part of it. She thought the sacrifices were for beasts, not people. He remembers how the Empress's lady-in-waiting, Lorraine, helped him take the throne. A memory that's both a blessing and a curse. He clenches his fist, furious he only remembered all this after the fire. Carl changes the subject, asking about the Duke's brother. The Duke admits something feels off. He looks concerned. A huge amount of mana is pouring into his brother's body, but instead of destroying him, it's being slowly absorbed. They agree to part ways for now. Carl has his own business to attend to. He pulls up his hood with a mysterious smile. And where is our chaotic prince headed? To a cake shop of all places. He buys the most delicious-looking cupcakes. He enters a private room. The door clicks shut behind him. He's meeting someone in secret. It's a fancy little setup. He places a perfect raspberry cupcake on the table, and his secret guest is none other than Peggy. He tells her to try it. She asks how he knew what she liked. He gets all smooth. Maybe I care about you more than you realized. She is not impressed by the flirty talk. I won't eat it, she declares, not until I get my revenge. She's so fiery and stubborn. Carl just watches her completely unbothered. In fact, he finds it hilarious. She demands to know what's so funny. He tells her she's exactly the same as she was in their past life. Ambitious, beautiful, and refusing to give up. She's taken aback by his words. He recalls saving her from the mansion fire. He couldn't figure out why, but he had to get her out. He remembers carrying her through the deadly flames. She was so weak, coughing in his arms. She could barely speak. He told her to save her strength. But she whispered that she wanted to live, and in that moment, he knew he couldn't let her die. Time fast forwards to the day of the execution. The guillotine looms, a promise of a tragic end. Our poor Abigail is forced to her knees. Her hands are bound as she's pushed down. She cries out in despair. The crowd whispers, seeing the famous Duke's daughter about to be executed. And of course, the wicked Lorraine is there, fanning herself with a smug grin. Abigail knows her enemy is savoring this moment, but the real chains holding her here aren't magic shackles. It's her family watching helplessly. She knows she could escape, but they would pay the price. They're all trapped. She laments her second chance at life, feeling like she failed to protect them. Lorraine gives a sickeningly sweet goodbye, Abby. She waits for the Emperor to arrive and seal the deal. But why aren't they here yet? Lorraine is getting annoyed. This isn't part of her perfect plan. Suddenly, a voice from the crowd cries out, "Why are you killing her? She saved us." Lorraine is furious. How dare these peasants interfere? But the crowd's voice grows louder. "She saved us. That's right, in the fire." They can't believe the person who saved them is being punished. How can this be happening? Soon the entire crowd is chanting, "Free Abigail Candler, free our savior." Lorraine is absolutely losing it. Don't they know the Emperor's verdict? A new voice cuts in, smooth as ice. "A life-saving favor can't be erased by lies." It's the Duke, looking like a god who has descended to pass judgment. He looks right at Lorraine. "Am I right, our dear miss, reborn as you are?" Lorraine is completely stunned, stammering that she doesn't understand. Just then hooves thunder across the stone plaza. It's Abigail's father leading his knights. "No one will harm my daughter. The cavalry has arrived. Her brothers are with him, ready for battle." Our girl is in shock, father. She asks why he's defying the Emperor. He sweeps her into his arms. "You are more important than anything." He vows he won't fail to protect her like he failed her mother. He will defy anyone who slanders his daughter. Abigail trembles, overwhelmed with emotion. Her father declares to the entire capital that his daughter is innocent. The real culprit was hiding in the shadows. He says someone here must be very shocked. As Peggy steps out from the crowd with Carl, "that I'm still alive." She confesses to her crimes of arson and murder, but she points a finger right at her accomplice. "Lorraine Carlatti, I thought you were a friend." Lorraine is backed into a corner, and Peggy delivers a savage slap right across her face. "This is for you," she says coldly. Lorraine shrieks, "How dare you?" But a hand wrapped in dark magic grabs her wrist. It's Carl. "I never allowed you to hit my empress," he says, his eyes glowing. He drops the bombshell. "You're not the only one reborn in this world." Lorraine's face is a mask of pure terror. It's all over. Abigail thanks her new allies for their courage. Peggy takes her hand reassuringly. "I'm not just helping you," she says, "I'm helping myself." Then she turns to the crowd. There is another with blood on their hands. She rips Lorraine's sleeve, revealing the dark magic runes etched into her arm. The crowd gasps in horror. That's dark magic. Peggy demands an explanation, but Lorraine is speechless. The villainess is trembling. Her perfect plan has crumbled into absolute chaos. In her past life, her body was a prison of black magic. The disgusting markings covered her skin. The people called her a monster, a freak covered in blood. They found her revolting, living in the light while she suffered in darkness. She was just a pawn for the old empress and for Carl. A desperate question echoes in her mind. Why can't I change this? Her despair turns to pure rage. Why can't they all just die? But even in this life, the accusations fly, slander and defamation. They point their fingers, calling her a sinner, an evil witch. The endless condemnation is suffocating. She can't take it anymore. Why hasn't anything changed? She turns to flee, but a man points right at her. She's running away. Suddenly, a dark figure appears, her eyes glowing with menace. It's the Empress. She looks down on the chaos she's created. "Enough," she says, her voice dripping with contempt. "Save your words." Our girl is stunned, facing the monster who ruined her life. The Empress declares that everything she longed for means nothing. Then a horrifying memory floods the scene. A child falls limp. It was the day Anne Sultan was born. A man screams in agony. Carl and another woman look on in absolute shock. The Empress had just beheaded the former emperor. "Your only emperor has truly returned," she announces to the horrified crowd. Next, she whispers, turning her attention to our heroes. She gathers the hatred and resentment in her palm. All of Mephisto's power is concentrated in her blood. A terrifying magic array begins to form on the ground. Our girl can't believe it. "You shouldn't have any magic power left," she screams, but the Empress just looks smug. "As long as my child returns to my body, my magic will return." She looks so confident, so evil. "My child listens to his mother, he won't object." "Don't even think about it," our girl yells, unleashing her own power. She pushes back with everything she has. But her body is exhausted, her magic is fading. The Empress easily summons a massive wave of dark energy. "First, I have to get rid of you," she says coldly. "You're an unstable factor." The curse slams into our heroine. It's an agony she shouldn't be able to withstand. She collapses, shielding herself from the dark flames. Abby, Carl screams, helpless to intervene. The power difference is just too massive. Someone points in horror. Look at Abby's hand. It's turning black, consumed by the dark magic. This is the erosion from the curse. But then a new figure appears, his eyes sharp. The power of purification, dispel, he chants, he unleashes a holy magic circle. "Take this," he says, handing her a necklace. "It will help slow down the erosion." As she touches the beautiful red jewel, time itself seems to stop. The necklace glows with a brilliant light. Her mind goes blank. All she sees are fragmented images playing in slow motion. Everyone fell to the ground, moaning in pain. The Empress grabbed a dying Lorraine with one hand. Then a huge black sphere formed around them. The sphere expanded, engulfing everyone within its darkness. Carl is trapped. Damn it, I can't move. He sees his father standing firm. Father, brother, run away. But his father just smiles sadly. I was lucky to be your father. And then he is consumed by the darkness. A girl screams, feeling her own power surging uncontrollably. Blood drips from her mouth. The raw energy is tearing her apart. She needs more power, anything to stop this nightmare. But she's at her limit, coughing up blood. The pain is unbearable. The Empress just watches, amused, give up. She smirks, having peeked into our girl's memories. This magic array is different. I am 100 times stronger than that imposter. Her eyes glow with a terrifying light. So sleep, become a part of my child. You will have a new mother. A vision of a happy family shatters into a million pieces. Our girl is lost, falling through an endless dark void. She lands in a strange place, a world of water and shadow. This place again. She realizes she's inside the magic array in the rift between life and death. If she falls in, it's all over. But she hears something, a memory. This is the Empress's subconscious. We see the Empress's past. A cloaked man tells her black magic originates from hatred and blood. She agrees without hesitation. Later, the maids see her trying to use magic on a sleeping child. What are you doing? A woman cries out, grabbing her. Grab her. Then another memory surfaces, an inextinguishable flame. It's our heroine's mother. The voice asks, do you remember? Your mother absorbed the flames into her own body to protect you. She became a living sacrifice. But no one can stop those flames. She was consumed by the very fire she tried to control. The Empress's voice echoes again. Of course, I paid a price too. I became an old woman in an instant. She was just a pawn for the man who taught her black magic. He originally chose another girl from the Carlatti family, but I used her as fertilizer for my black magic. The Empress confesses. This restored her youth and allowed her to seduce the Emperor. After she gained power, her teacher became her nourishment. A cold, savage smile spreads across her face. Our girl trembles with fury. I knew it. It was all you're doing. The Empress's form appears before her, a shadowy figure of despair. I don't hate your mother or that girl or even the Emperor. I just hate fate. She tries to tempt our girl. Aren't we the same? You struggled for 2 lifetimes and nothing changed. Now you're tired too, right? Come back to your mother's warm embrace. There's no need to struggle anymore. The tendrils of darkness reach for her, become the magic array's final ingredient. Suddenly, a hand reaches through the darkness. Abby, suddenly he grabs her hand, his eyes burning with intensity. He screams her name, desperate. She feels a jolt as he holds on tight. Vane looks absolutely terrified for her. He refuses to let go. Our girl is stunned, her heart pounding. A horrible realization dawns on her. She's seen this before. It's the moment from her vision, the one where he dies. Dark thorns erupt from the ground, trying to pull them apart. A voice cries out, warning that the Empress is catching up. Vane grunts, the dark energy overwhelming him. He realizes he can't absorb her mana here. This is the Empress's domain. Abby understands. This is a losing battle for him. The Empress's power is absolute in this space. He leans in close, his voice a desperate whisper, give me your mana. He tells her it's the only way as long as their skin is touching, but he warns her, her body won't be able to handle it. She'll be torn apart by the sheer force. Our girl doesn't even flinch. It's fine, she can handle it. Why? Because in her past life, she wasn't just some noble lady. She was a total boss, a grandmaster mage. Mana surges through her body like a lightning storm. With it, she feels Vane's memories flooding her mind. She sees him finally waking up thanks to Norman's help. She sees Norman, the loyal friend. And she sees Vane's desperation as he rushed into the magic array. She feels his worry, his trust in her. But then she sees something else, a small sad boy, the third prince. He makes a heartbreaking wish. He reveals his mother, the Empress, dreamt of a miracle. But a miracle born from someone else's suffering isn't happiness. He begs someone to save his mother and end this nightmare. The Empress's face is cold and unforgiving. The prince knows his mother is trapped in this cursed array. The goddess looks on, her heart breaking. He explains the magic array was designed to fail. It forces his mother to relive her tragic past on a loop. An endless cycle of pain fueling the curse. The mana backlash hits Abby like a truck. Vane shouts her name, thinking he's losing her. But our girl just smiles through the pain. She knows what to do. She begins a powerful chant. Her entire being starts to glow with holy light. Turn this sea of fire into a sea of flowers. She calls upon the goddess of life herself. A brilliant green light explodes, purifying everything. When the light fades, she tells Vane to look around. They're back. They actually made it back, but the victory feels hollow. The area affected by the array is huge. Everyone is just gone. The once bustling city is now a ghost town. This wasn't the ending our girl wanted. Suddenly, she collapses, coughing violently. The magic took a massive toll on her body. Vane rushes to her side, his face pale with fear. But she's got one last ace up her sleeve. The necklace Norman gave her mother contains a rewind spell. Between that and her mother's spirit protecting her, she won't die. She realizes the rewind magic is how she relived her past life. With a new fire in her eyes, she asks Vane to lend her his strength. She's ready to risk it all for a true happy ending. Vane just smirks, of course he's in. He gently takes her hand, reminding her of their contract. No matter what, he will always be by her side. A goddess hears their prayer. She hears their wish, a true miracle is about to unfold. She hears the yearning of all people across all of time, and she will grant their desire. Several days later, the capital is alive with celebration. It's the day of the royal wedding. The people are joyous, their lives return to normal. Vane waits at the altar, looking dashing but incredibly nervous. He keeps looking toward the door. Where is she? His friends are getting antsy, the bride is missing. Apparently no one has seen Abby since the day the magic was broken. We see a vision of her walking away. The brothers explain that everyone survived. Well, almost everyone. The empress and other villains crumbled into dust. Their evil deeds erased them from existence. The emperor got what was coming to him in the most brutal way. The prince shudders, realizing how foolish he once was. But all anyone can think about is Abby. Could breaking the array have cost Abby her life? Just as hope seems lost, her father asks for her hand. Vane takes it and a soft smile spreads across his face. He whispers her name, Abby, and just like that, she appears in a shower of light. The maids gasp, tears in their eyes. Our girl looks like an absolute goddess in her wedding dress. The crowd is completely awestruck. She explains her new, strange condition. If we don't hold hands, my form won't appear. And look who it is, Norman, the chaotic mage himself, pops in. He explains that their bond is now deeper than any ordinary couple's. Vane used all his accumulated power to cast the rewind magic. Now, he must constantly generate mana just for her to exist. Her non-existent state was the price for saving everyone. Vane looks at her, his eyes filled with so much love. I've missed you. She smiles back, telling him not to be sad on their wedding day. She looks at her family, finally safe and sound. With Vane by her side, this is the perfect ending. As the priest begins, a tiny Vane panics. He's running out of mana. A tiny Abby is just like, excuse me, what? But in this second life, she's found her happiness. And with one final kiss, they seal their promise. A love story that truly transcends life and death.